San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And a happy Friday to everybody out there in America's finest city. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Did you put Foul Out Friday on the YouTube link today?
No.
How did everybody know it was a Foul Out Friday? Did you tweet something out? You were talking about that off air.
I saw it in there. I'm like,
I thought you came up with that, and I was like, "Well, that's interesting."
I'm like,
how did they know about this?
I'm like, it's Friday. Like, I didn't think that was a big secret.
Foul Out Friday.
Yeah, I saw it in the chat, and then I said it. Yeah, that's why that seemed like such a coincidence.
Foul Out Friday, more like a full packed Friday. We got a lot to talk about today in the sports world. In the 11 o'clock hour, we're going to talk a lot of Padres baseball and other baseball things. We got latest news and rumors from free agency. Pirates made a trade. Teoscar Hernandez could be on the trade block. Blue Jays host a visit for Kyle Tucker. We'll talk about that. We'll take a look at the Padres outfield prospects today as we take a look at all the prospects as laid out by Jeff Sanders in the San Diego Union-Tribune. We will also be talking about some of the leaks that have happened and some of the reporting being done by Jeff Passan and Buster Olney. There's a couple of things in there that are interesting and pertain to Padres fans in terms of like Michael King, in terms of other players that the Padres might be able to acquire or pick up or re-sign, I guess, if it's Michael King. And an interesting connection of like how much Michael King is expected to go for. That number that they continue to throw out there for Michael King keeps getting lower and lower. Seems to be more and more affordable. Will the Padres bring him back? We'll talk about that at 11:35. We got the NFL whip around to get to at noon. We got the conference championship games to talk about at 12:35. We have college football's parity now in the 1 o'clock hour. Drake Hills will join us at 1:35 to talk about the final kind of season, or should I say final season recap of San Diego FC and the FIFA World Cup 2026 final draw is right now. Now, it's a huge production. They're doing a concert.
Which is stupid.
They're doing a concert.
Stop it.
Just let us know who's playing. Let us know who's playing who. Who's in what deal. Okay? But we'll pass that along. We'll talk about that with Drake Hills on 1:35. But what I really wanted to get started with was something that happened last night, and something got released last night at 10 o'clock that really solidifies, again, how crazy college football is. Now, what happened last night was a YouTube channel called Dead Air Sports released alleged audio of Penn State's athletic director talking to current Penn State players. It's Pat Kraft talking with current Penn State football players about the hiring process and what they're looking for in a head coach. And let me tell you, is that audio a doozy? It is a doozy. It's pretty great. There's a lot to unpack from it. If you haven't heard it, we're not going to play any clips of it. But if you haven't heard it, you got to go and listen to it. Because it's really interesting stuff about not only Penn State and where they're at and what their thinking is, but also the other colleges and the other teams and what they're competing with and what everybody's competing with in this new era of NIL. So let's kind of break it down. Penn State's coaching search has taken another dramatic and maybe embarrassing turn after leaked audio emerged Thursday night on Dead Air Sports. Again, this is all alleged. You don't see Pat Kraft talking. It's alleged audio. The audio, allegedly, from a meeting between Penn State Athletic Director Pat Kraft and Nittany Lions players, revealed blunt and at times profane comments.
At times?
Yes.
The whole bleeping thing was a bleeping bleep bleep. That's
At times. At times. Comments about their ongoing coaching search, NIL strategy, geography and recruiting issues, and other Big Ten programs. Now, this is interesting because now all of a sudden there is a connection that, Matt Campbell has become number one potential. They're close to a deal deciding Matt Campbell to be their head coach, which makes this even funnier, to be honest with you. It makes that news leak today a little bit underwhelming. And maybe this was a targeted deal because I'm going to tell you right now, whoever released this audio, not Dead Air Sports who posted it, but whoever recorded this audio and then released it is committing a felony wire fraud. Not wire fraud, wiretapping. Yeah. Felony wiretapping. They're breaking the law big time. They're committing a felony. So who knows how this is going to play out because this got released 10 hours ago. Penn State has been without a permanent head coach since they fired James Franklin on October 12th. It's the highest profile job still open during a chaotic coaching carousel. They were the first ones to really get this thing started, too. Haven't had a head coach since October 12th. Ladies and gentlemen, it's December 5th. The search for Penn State has been frustrating. The school has been linked to several coaches, many of whom have leveraged interest into new deals. They had a battle with the Crumble Cookie CEO. It's not the way the cookie crumbles. And Penn State currently has only a two-man 2026 recruiting class, magnifying pressure on the administration. Here's all the things you need to know about the leaked audio that came out last night. Again, allegedly, it's Pat Kraft talking to football players. Kraft acknowledges the stakes of his own job. He said this in the audio. If I don't get this right, my career is over. In 2 years, they will fire my ass, and I don't get another AD job. How can you bleep up Penn State? Well, he's pretty real in that sense. I mean, how do you mess up Penn State football? They got to make this hire's got to be a big deal. It's got to be a huge thing.
Well, apparently we know who it is.
Has that officially been the case?
According to On3, a half hour ago, Penn State is working to finalize the deal to hire Iowa State's Matt Campbell.
Not official yet.
No, it's not official, but they're finalizing it.
Not official. And it's pointed out, I mean, this is just how crazy this stuff is. I mean, remember, the Ole Miss meetings have been recorded too. These kids got to stop, or whoever it is, need to stop recording these things on their phones. Everybody turn their phone in before we have these meetings, these closed-door meetings. Are they really closed door if somebody's recording it? I'm surprised you're not on Flight Tracker right now. I thought Frank would be all over that.
I don't know the tail number.
You can figure it out, I'm sure. A little bit of research. I'm sure people have already posted on Reddit what the Penn State plane tail number is.
PSU JP 409.
Here's some other quotes from allegedly Pat Kraft and some leaked audio. He had frustration with Penn State's history of settling. I think everybody should have that type of frustration, just in general. I have that frustration with TCU, but he has, quote, what's happened here too many times at Penn State is they expletive settle for second best. That's why we made the move. It's 100% true. To sit there, and he goes on and he talks about like how a lot of the fans were excited that they like came close to beating Oregon and they almost beat Indiana after like firing their coach. And he said, bleep that, their losses. I have the same sentiment. You know what? As somebody that is an athletic, if he was the athletic director of my school, I'd be fired up to hear that right there. Yeah. There's no such thing as a moral victory. And when you start settling for moral victories, you settle for mediocrity. And Penn State doesn't want to settle for mediocrity. Bleep that. I agree, Pat Kraft.
But but he also, like, and it's brought up several times in the video that we're talking about, that it's like he doesn't want to hear about moral victories, but then he's okay with taking some moral victories. Like, man, we played Oregon really close, and we almost had them. We were a play away, but that was a good Oregon team. Like, what? Wait, are we not taking moral victories here, or are we?
He doesn't want to take moral victories, but at the same time, like, he is with college kids that physically played that game. He's not going to, like, obliterate them. He's trying to make it sound like it's not their fault because they have a talented roster and they're very talented. It's, we got to get this coaching hire right. And the message after that game can't be, we're okay with losing this game. I think he was acknowledging to those players that they played their ass off in those games.
Which is fair, because they did.
They did. You have to say it. You can still say you guys played your ass off, but and still be upset that you lost and be like, we're not hanging a banner for this. We're not going to brag to people like, well, we almost beat Oregon. That's not something to brag about. So I see where Pat Kraft is on there. I know the guy on Dead Air Sports is trying to make a big deal out of that. I personally disagree. I think the point came across, and then eventually, you are talking to 18 to 20-something-year-old kids about their performance as they try to find a new head coach. The other thing that I thought was interesting was some of the, challenges the NIL, as well as, like, what he talks about other programs. I'm going to tell you right now, all my Oregon fans out there, Derek in La Mesa,
Drake, who's going to come
on the show. You got to listen to this audio just to hear how triggered Pat Kraft is about Oregon football. I mean, he hates Oregon. Hates them. He hates Oregon. I mean, absolutely hates that program. You can, by everything he says, he continues to take shots at Oregon. Again, it's all alleged audio. He goes, I think Oregon are frauds. Have you all been to Oregon? Ain't bleep going on. It's a bunch of bleeping weirdos. Oh my God. Shots fired at Oregon. That was part of the conversation of one of the players who acknowledged the recruiting challenges to Penn State. It's 100% true. I mean, now that everybody can pay for college players, what's the appeal to going to Penn State? One of the players in that released audio, one of the players goes, biggest reason players do not want to come here is we're in the middle of nowhere. He talked about, and he goes on to say in this audio clip, again, you go find it on Dead Air Sports. It is just the gift that keeps on giving. He talks about, he's like, I just had guys on a recruiting trip here, and the whole time they go, what do we do here? There's nothing to do here. He said and he's like, honestly, there is nothing to do here. Pat Kraft agrees. But he also says that is something our fans don't understand here at Penn State. They ain't nothing to do here. And kids don't want to live in the middle of nowhere. So he was then asking, like, what do we do? So that's part of the conversation. Like, what do we do to flip that? How do we change a recruiting pitch? How do we get kids to come to this school? When he said they have the 4th highest paid teams in the country. He took more shots at Michigan. This was funny. Michigan bleeping stinks. Bleeping joke. Cheated their bleep off. Oregon's quarterback was shaking in overtime when he was talking about Oregon again.
Yes.
Pat Kraft goes on to say that Penn State's current roster is, quote, one of the highest paid in the country, but says money allocation is the real issue. He talked about Texas Tech. He said Texas Tech is at $40 million. Their roster costs $40 million thanks to that single billionaire who keeps dropping money on the program. He's like, it's bleeping stupid.
There was another thing about that was they were saying how Penn State they have a $40 million roster. Texas Tech has $40 million in scholarship players only. Penn State has it spread throughout the entire 85-man roster, which that's also an interesting way to have it split.
Yeah, they're spending a lot of money. Like Texas Tech's not giving everybody money.
Yeah.
The other thing, too, and I thought was interesting, and again, it's about Oregon. He's talking about Oregon, and I wouldn't be surprised about this. He said Oregon and Ohio State. Again, this is all alleged on the audio. Go back and listen to it. It's phenomenal. He's talking about Oregon and Ohio State. He said the way that they get some of their NIL money back is if you're late to class, you pay a $10,000 fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's other fines that they do at those schools, if that's the case. Again, this is just him talking to a bunch of players, and who knows how much of this is legit or not. But I find it interesting that he brought that up too. He's like, you know, Oregon, like Oregon, they get some of their NIL money back by putting out fines. I think that's a great idea, by the way. You want to get kids to go to class? Fines. Yeah. You want to get them to play well? Fines. I mean, maybe that's why Ohio State and Oregon are kicking ass. They talked a little bit more about like the recruiting at Ohio State and why they've been so good at getting receivers and, you know, kind of the messaging and stuff like that. And apparently this is all before they were going to talk to Terry. What's his last name? Their interim head coach.
Terry Smith, I believe.
I think it's Terry Smith. All before they were going to ask it because he wanted to interview for the job.
Yeah, it's Terry Smith.
Terry Smith. But the college football landscape.
Terry Smith might land himself a job here by doing what he's done at Penn State, because they're talking, On3 is reporting that Memphis and UConn are both looking at him.
Yeah, he'll get another coaching job. These guys all get other coaching jobs.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, like, instead of like him going back to his role, which why would you want to do that after you've been the head coach somewhere and the kids back you more than they back the head coach coming in? He might be gone. So you might lose not just James Franklin, but you might lose somebody who the kids respect.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, but here's the thing. It's like they have messed this up so much. And the question is, and we're going to ask it as we go to break, the audio is just phenomenal. I think the inside look at college football with some of the money that's getting played out and fines and all this other stuff that has allegedly is going on, according to Pat Kraft. But I mean, the biggest takeaway I got out of that was Texas Tech spending $40 million on the roster. If they're spending $40 million, what do you think all these other schools are spending?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Penn State says they have a top 4 roster. Wow. Top 4 roster. Best team money can buy. 6-6, huh? They kept talking about all the talent that they had, and they got to make the right choice. But they're now down to Matt Campbell, who might be the head coach of Penn State. He's like their 8th or 9th choice on this list. And there's so much to unpack on that. I mean, you want to take moral victories, and we can't settle for being second. You're settling for 8th in your head coaching hires. But here's the question that I asked, and I think I got to ask Penn State fans. I don't know how many we got. I know a lot of Penn State fans, and maybe I'll ask Frank. Did this leak help Penn State by showing fire from the athletic director, or does it embarrass the program even further? To me, I don't necessarily know it embarrasses the program, but I tell you what, Matt Campbell's a little bit underwhelming now after hearing the audio. We'll talk about it when we come back. We'll also break down some college football stuff at the 10:30 spot. At 11 o'clock, we dive into everything that's going on in baseball as we get started on a Friday on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We got the FIFA World Cup final draw show on. What a crazy debacle that is. Team USA.
So, no,
this is all the plots, right?
I think they're
so
just,
like these are all the ones.
Yeah, I think they're just going
Here's
over
Mexico.
who's.
Oh, Spain. Okay.
They already did Mexico.
Oh,
yeah, they're just reviewing who's in what pot right now.
Oh my God.
So I could do this before they're done in pot A. U.S., Mexico, Canada, Spain, Argentina, France, England, Brazil, Portugal, Netherlands, Belgium, Germany. That's all pot one.
All right, we don't need to talk about all the pots. So they're announcing all the pots before they start like picking the little balls.
Yes.
There's 4 pots? Or how many? Okay, there's 4. So each one of so Aaron Judge is going to pick a thing out of the hat.
Yes.
And that when they seed.
So Tom Brady is picking out of pot 1, which would be what they're going through right now. Shaq is picking out of pot 2. Arson Fudge has Arson Fudge has pot 3, and then Wayne Gretzky has pot 4.
Well, that's fun.
Which is going to be completed by teams that aren't officially in the World Cup yet.
Right. Are they only going to pick the pot 1 first?
Yeah, they'll go through
and they'll see. Okay, then they'll pick all the pot 2s, and they'll pick all the pot 3s. They'll pick all the pot 4s.
Should be, yes.
All right, well, that'll be fun. It's been on for 40 minutes, almost an hour now, and they have yet to announce any of the deals. They have a concert. They have all these famous people. They got all this stuff going on. I'm sure there's some. Here's the thing. This is why it appeals to San Diego is there's areas throughout the country where there's going to be training sites. And so I'm pretty sure we're going to get a team, a country or two to train here. I know Fort Worth's getting one because TCU keeps talking about it on all their social media accounts. So once they start seeding and stuff like that, they'll start releasing where some of these host countries or wherever these countries, are going to be training for the World Cup, which is this summer.
They look like they're about to start picking, which you know what this means?
They're going to commercial.
I was good. Yeah, exactly. This is the perfect time for Fox to take an ad break.
Right. Anyway, so we will keep you updated on that as we find out where all of these countries and what pools are going to be put in, and we'll get the full breakdown with Drake at 1:35.
It's on Fox for those of you watching. It's on.
Nice. Now you get to tell everybody to not watch us and go watch Fox. Thank you.
Well, have us on the side. Like, come on now.
Well, I guess it's the guy that has it on his fridge.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. Buddy watches on his fridge. You mean to tell me you can't have it on? You can't have us on a separate stream?
Set up 4 TVs, dude. All right. Did that leak help Penn State by showing fire or embarrass the program even further?
I would say that I could say a little bit of both. I think that it's embarrassing to have something like that leaked out. However, it does show the intention of the program and that they have, at least by what is being shown, it does show that they have some sort of direction that they are intending on going.
To me, like, I think I agree with you in the sense of like that information getting out is embarrassing.
Yeah,
that's
embarrassing regardless.
I also think, and somebody over there is in a whole lot of trouble. I also think the embarrassing part of their entire hiring process was embarrassing. Like, if this got leaked before, like if this was the conversation before the whole process went out, I'd be like, all right, well, this guy's trying his butt off, okay? I don't mind, like, a lot of things that Pat Kraft said. He's a guy that wants to win at Penn State in football. And, like, he's keeping it real on everything that he said. But what's embarrassing is the fact that when he said he's tired of Penn State fans accepting bleeping second place, and then he's settling for the 8th or 9th coach, whatever they tried to hire. That's, to me, where it's like, all right, well, what are we doing here? That's the embarrassing part. The good part is, like, you know what? Pat Kraft wants to win. The guy's a winner. He's upset with going 10-2. It's why they made these decisions, right? It's why they didn't want to hire, they're on the fence about hiring Terry Smith. That's why they are going to end up hiring Matt Campbell, I guess. It's why they cast a gigantic net to make this thing happen. But that audio was great. I mean, there's so much fascinating stuff out of that with college football. So much fascinating stuff on that with NIL. He did attack his fan base a little bit, which is interesting. I mean, they're probably just going to try to get rid of him. But to be honest with you, he's honestly holding the fan base accountable a little bit. Like, hey, we got to be better. We have to have some understanding that people don't come to Happy Valley because there's nothing to do here.
Mm-hmm.
This is not like before when we could just buy kids and they're going to come here because nobody else was buying players. Now everybody's buying players. And we're talking about the parity of college football later on the show, where you have Texas Tech spending $40 million on their roster. That was some information that allegedly got leaked here. It's allegedly going on. The fines that Oregon and Ohio State hash out allegedly for kids that do not follow the rules or do not show up to class on time. I think from that perspective, Frank, the inside look at all the other programs and what's going on behind the scenes in college football honestly was more appealing to me than the whole Penn State, we got to hire a new coach saga.
Well, yeah, especially if you're not a Penn State fan, you're, of course, going to be more interested in what is going on, like, nationally and how it affects college football as a whole. But it was just the whole conversation was interesting. I mean, the fact that you hear after playing Alabama, you've got Birmingham a half hour away and you're going to party in Birmingham. There's not much to do around College Station, which, I mean, you're allegedly there for school. I understand that you need to have, there's some things that you have to have some sort of outlet. I get that. But I mean, it's Penn State. They also acknowledge that they need to do a better job in recruiting overall. Like they thought that some people, it sounds like some people in the organization feel as though that it's still like the 70s and the 80s where they're just going to get everyone in the Northeast and that's going to be good enough. And they express that they need to start recruiting more nationally instead of just relying on the Northeastern corridor.
The other thing I thought was interesting in that particular case is how much he bleeped on the Virginia Tech kids that were Penn State commits.
Yeah, it's like
that are now going to Virginia Tech.
That was another thing
he
that got
took
me.
so many shots at James Franklin and all the kids that they were expecting. He's like, none of those kids are good. They're not even like top 150 players.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. They're not top 150 players.
They're not helping you guys. He literally said that in the thing. They're like, they're not going to help any of you guys. They're not very good.
They were going there. They were committed to Penn State. What do you mean? Are you admitting that you're not recruiting the best players you can? What is that?
They're like, oh, they're not very good anyway.
Yeah, they're not good anyway. Okay, they were good enough to come here a couple months ago.
Yeah, you were all on board about.
Like, what is this?
In September. It's just great audio. I love everything about it. It was just, I you know what? I might have to listen to it again.
That drove me nuts. I'm like, wait a second. They were good enough a month ago, but now they're god awful and they weren't helping us win a national championship.
He contradicted himself a lot in that thing, but I thought the biggest takeaway was the college football, like just what's going on in college football. And there's a lot of stuff that happens that we all assume that is happening, but it was a good, look behind the curtain to see the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
And everything that's happening behind college football. I mean, as somebody now you said it, like as a non-Penn State fan, how do you view this? Well, I view this as a, from a TCU perspective, right? Because I'm a TCU fan. I look at $40 million for Texas Tech and be like, I hope we're paying up to that level. I know that we, as a school at TCU, raised $100 million for all of our athletes. Now, whether or not $40 million is going to football is a different story. If they're trying to keep it equal, that's another different story. But you look at Texas Tech. Texas Tech spent $40 million on the roster, and guess what? They're going to be in the playoff. And they're probably going to be the Big 12 champion. Like, it leads to some of the parity. But then you look at it from a perspective of San Diego State, and you're not even playing the same game.
Yeah,
you're not even in the same league. It's like you're playing a different sport than these guys. And there's nothing San Diego State can do about it. We look at San Diego State football, and it's like, what are we doing here? You look at some of the group of 5 schools with this, and this is why you got to put in these rules. It's like that's the whole salary cap thing with the Dodgers. I mean, how does San Diego State compete with Texas Tech when they're in they're in the same division? Texas Tech spent $40 million on their roster. How much did San Diego State spend on their football roster? Probably like $4 million? $2 to $4 million? I mean, their basketball team gets around $2.5 million. Texas Tech is spending $40 million. How much do you think Texas is spending? I mean, Pat Kraft goes in that entire thing, and there's clips of him talking about Texas and how everybody on their team has a scholarship, and they're all getting NIL money, and they gave Arch Manning $5 million. That's all, again, allegedly, according to the alleged Pat Kraft audio that we heard last night. It's like you're playing a different sport than these schools. Everybody wanted to pay the players. It's not fair. Okay, well, now you're paying them, and now you're getting a little bit of parity, but at the same time, I mean, there are schools that cannot even come close to competing with that. I mean, if you want San Diego State to be the best that they can be, and you want to have anybody in town to really care about them, they have to be in a conversation to make the playoff. They can't make the playoff with the roster they have money-wise compared to who they're competing with. It's going to be like watching the Chargers play the Niners in the Super Bowl when the Niners could spend more money than God on a team. I mean, this is everything we've talked about in baseball with the reason for a salary cap and a salary floor. Money buys wins. And the funny thing is the SEC is becoming more and more back down to earth, and you're starting to realize, they were just the only ones paying for people. Because if Penn State can't get anybody to go to Happy Valley, How in the world are SEC schools getting kids that go to the places that they are currently in? It's a whole can of worms. They are seeding the World Cup. We'll get you updates on that as it happens. We will also dive into what a cluster it was for the College Football Playoff Committee. You want to talk about more corruption in college football? I mean, what was that? Bruce Feldman sounded off. You got to hear what he said. We'll talk about it when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number one sports station, 97 through the Fan. August on 97 through the Fan. Join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. We got the first two pots have been officially seeded in the World Cup draw today. They're drawing all of the groups for World Cup play, which will be in summer of 2026 here in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. The United States is in Group D, and Australia will be in Group D so far. But as you take a look, Frank, real quick, before we get to some phone calls and back to the college football conversation, got a couple groups that are looking very competitive right now.
So right now it's looking like Mexico is going to play the opening game of the World Cup. And I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that one in the group will play 3 and then 2 will play 4 in the opening match. If that is the case, Mexico will play South Korea in the opening match of the World Cup. Canada has Switzerland in their group. They're in the 4 spot. Brazil, Morocco, that's 1 and 2. The U.S. would play Australia in their opening matchup. Germany, Ecuador, Netherlands, Japan, that's Group F. That is looking like it's going to be a very tough group. Belgium, Iran is in Group G. Group H, which is, for me, leading the group of death category already, Spain, Uruguay. Group I is France and Senegal. Argentina, Austria. Group J. Group K is Portugal, Colombia. And then Group L is England, Croatia, which just makes me so happy because England thinks it's their God-given right to win this tournament every year. So just give them the toughest group.
All right, they're now doing pot 3, and we will keep you updated on that as it goes along. We'll keep you up on that. It sounds like it's probably going to take most of our show today because the way they're going to be going. But you know, they've been pretty quick. Yeah, the hardest part is getting Shaq to open up the deal. His hands are massive. They should have made bigger.
His hands and fingers are so big.
Should have made bigger balls.
No, there it is.
For Shaq to use.
God.
Phrasing.
I'm saying, please don't say the thing. I know
I wanted to say it. I wanted to say it.
I know you wanted to.
833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Shout out to Harry Balke, one of my former players. Got a Fred Mitchell Award finalist. Kicker in the FCS. Kicks for Drake. Final year of college football. Kid from San Diego. Love to see it. Love to see it. Harry jumped into our YouTube chat not too long ago when they beat USD on the game-winning field goal.
Yes.
He just to stir the pot a little bit. Did you guys see that?
Yes.
Did you guys see the USD game on Saturday? I did, Harry. Nice kick, dude.
Rod fell on the show.
Come on.
No, I tried to stop him. I didn't say it. I tried to stop him because I knew he was going to say it.
You know, this is the best time of the year for radio and Christmas. You want to know why? Because you can go back and watch the Saturday Night Live Sweaty Balls deal. It's a great skit from Saturday Night Live with what's his name?
Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin. Sweaty Balls. It's good stuff. All right, let's get to the phones, and then we'll talk about what Bruce Feldman said. Bruce Feldman, he lit into the College Football Playoff Committee. It's you know what? It's a breath of fresh air that the national media is finally going like, hey, what's going on? It's about time.
And that's why I said what I said. I believe it was off air the other day. Is do they, knowing that this is not going to be the official tournament, do they just make up whatever nonsense just to get some sort of reaction and get people talking about it?
Yes. The college football playoff is a joke. It was a joke in 2014. I said it. I said it in 2014. Everybody laughed. Oh, you're just being biased. Well, you know what? It's not fun, is it, anymore? It's not fun anymore, is it?
No,
Football's not fun anymore,
not
is
even
it?
a little bit.
Not even a little bit. Not fun, sir. No, it's not. Oh, I didn't realize we had a San Diego representative on TCU women's soccer team. Kayla Martinez. Shout out to her.
There you go.
They played today. By the way, and I know Ron LeMace is the Kansas State guy. We're going to get to him in a second. Why does Kansas City get to host all these national championships? They're hosting the women's soccer national championship and the women's volleyball national championship this year. It's snowing in Kansas City right now. They're going to have to play in snow.
That's cool.
For the Final Four. Why?
Because why not?
Why can't you put
Make
it's
it
the
fun.
championship? You should have it on the most neutral site possible.
Let the kids
Why
have
are
some
they playing
fun.
in the snow?
Let the
that
kids have
changes
some
the
fun.
dynamics of the game of soccer.
Let the kids have
Playing
some
in
fun.
the snow. I'm going to make you cover the event in the snow.
Okay. You say that like it bothers me.
Snow
Like,
sucks.
no, it does not.
Snow's
Stop it.
cool for like a day. Dealing with snow sucks.
Stop being a child.
No, I'm from Southern California. I don't need snow. I can go visit snow in the mountains and then come home. I don't have to live in the snow. Shoveling snow, dealing with snow, having to put a bunch of layers on to go outside and then like sweat you know what off in the car, and then you get to the place, you take all like you're off. I mean, like you do that every day.
I will admit.
That sounds miserable.
I'll admit something right now. When
I agree,
you
Gonzo.
are,
It's cool for a day.
When you are in downtown Manhattan and your car gets snowed in by a snowplow,
Mm-hmm.
and you do not have a shovel to get your car out, and you have to resort to using your brand new leather gloves that you just got. Yeah, it does kind of suck.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. Not something I would like to willingly sign up for. But you know what? It's cool for a day. It's cool for a vacation for like a week or something. And then it's like, oh, look how pretty this is. I don't have to shovel it. It's great. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Ron and La Mesa, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Ron?
Frank, I'm so impressed you've been to Manhattan. Yeah, when it snows there, it sucks.
I worked
K-State
in
comes
Manhattan.
down-
He's talking about the Little Apple, Frank. He's talking about Manhattan, Kansas.
Oh,
The real Manhattan, huh?
Come on,
look,
Frank.
I worked
on,
there.
Frank.
What do you mean?
He didn't work in the Little Apple.
Yeah, well, I had to give my shot in there. The reason they're in Kansas City, Braden, because it's in the middle of the country, and all those small college sports can't afford to go East Coast to West Coast. At least that's what they used to tell us when I lived out there. Now, moving right along, let's talk about bowling balls. Chris Kleinman, what a dude. The guy saw the writing on the wall. Everybody was going after Colin Klein, the OC at Texas A&M. He's a demigod at Kansas State. So, of course, they had to bring him in as head coach, and Kleinman stepped aside, seeing the writing on the wall. That's how you take care of a university, not go on some secret website and bitch to your players about how much they suck. But anyway, that's K-State stuff. Shoveling snow, Frank, sucks. That's why I moved out here 32 years ago. I don't miss it. My son's pitching at a little school out in Kansas City now. He sent me a picture this morning with about 2 feet of snow, and all I can say to him, sucks to you, son. Have a great weekend, boys.
Appreciate it, Ron. Hey, I don't mind the Matt Campbell hire for Penn State. I want to tell you why. Because now I don't have to worry about Matt Campbell anymore. We're the only team he can actually beat.
Well, there you go.
Thank God.
Watch Penn State play TCU next year.
That's not going to happen. And if that's the case, we'll win. So
There it is.
I was like, I immediately texted, what's his record against Iowa? Another school that Penn State can't beat ever. You know it's true.
Yep.
They can never beat Iowa. They finally beat him probably this year. Hey, you know what? Matt Campbell's won the last 2 years. How long has Matt Campbell been at Iowa State? I think it's been a while now.
I do not know. I'm engrossed in this right now. This draw.
He's a kid in a candy store with the draw. We almost done with pot 3.
Yes, almost done with pot 3.
They added Paraguay to the United States.
Yeah,
bet.
we'll get to that.
Get to that in a second. He's been at Iowa State since 2016. He is 3-1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's 3-6 against Iowa. Hey man, that's the move. That's the move for Penn State. That's going to put him over the top. Matt Campbell, good for them. How do you feel if you're Matt Campbell? By the way, I mean, I guess you'll take the money. And you get out of Ames. You get out of Ames, Iowa, and it's a better job. But at the same time, it's like I was your what
I don't
choice?
know how much to hear for the players. I don't know how much better a gig it is getting out of Ames, Iowa, in the middle of nowhere to go into College Station in the middle of nowhere.
Nowhere. He's their 8th choice.
Well, 8th time's the charm, as they say.
That's going to be the difference. That's like when you think about it from that perspective. James Franklin was winning 10 games a year. James Franklin was winning 10 games a year at Penn State. Couldn't beat Ohio State. Couldn't beat Michigan. Every once in a while, they'd get Michigan. But they ain't beating Michigan. They ain't beating Ohio State. They're going to whatever bowl game every single year. And the thing was, we're tired of settling for second place, so you bring in Matt Campbell, who I like. I like Matt Campbell as a coach. I think he's a good coach. But Matt Campbell is going to be the guy that is doing something that James Franklin has been unable to do. I mean, he's 5-5 in bowl games. He hasn't won a championship. He's won the Big 12 Coach of the Year 3 times. But you look at his records at Iowa State, they've been solid. But, I mean, this year they got off to a good start, and then they lost 4 straight games in the middle of the season. And if it wasn't for Sonny Dykes being incompetent, they would have lost 5 straight games in the middle of the season. They won the Pop-Tarts Bowl last year. He's won 3 bowl games there and has lost 3 bowl games. They've been to the Liberty Bowl, the Alamo Bowl, the Camping World Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl. That's a good one. They had a good year, went 9-3 in 2020. Does that year even count? Cheez-It Bowl, Liberty Bowl, Pop-Tarts Bowl. Here's how they finished in the Big 12. 7th, tied for 1st last year. Had a chance to make the playoff, missed out. Tied for 4th, 10th, 4th. Won the Big 12 in 2020 again. Tied for 3rd, tied for 3rd, tied for 4th, 9th. That seems a lot like, I don't know, Penn State. Kind of ridiculous. Anyway, that's kind of the coaching hire situation. We'll talk about the college football playoff committee's problems later on in the show. But in the next hour is our deeper dive into Padres baseball and baseball in general. We got a lot of news on what's going on around Major League Baseball. We're going to talk about the Padres outfield in the 11 o'clock hour in terms of their prospects coming up. I mean, this is a farm system, again, that gets depleted, but then they always find a way to reload for other trades. Is there any help coming up? We'll talk about that. And Michael King continues to be rumored to take a smaller deal. Is that something the Padres are working on? We'll hear what Jeff Passan and Buster Olney have to say in the 11 o'clock hour when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. They're finalizing the World Cup groups with a couple more countries left. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 countries on there, and then there's a bunch of the FIFA playoff groups that they're going to seed as well. When do those play exactly?
Those will play in March.
So some teams that are in the some of the countries that are in the playoffs are like Italy, Northern Ireland. What was it? Wales and who else?
Bosnia. That's the Group B. That's the UEFA B A playoff, which would go. The winner of that would go to Group B. Sorry, I'm trying to pay attention to who's going where.
So we're going to have that full breakdown for you later on the show. Drake Hills will join us at 1:35 talking about the World Cup and the seedings that they have. It is now time, as we do every day at 11 o'clock. And we try to give you as much baseball content as we possibly can during the offseason, but a slow offseason, especially right for the winter meeting. Like next week's going to be a little bit easier with the winter meetings. We're going to have Sam Levitt live out there at the winter meetings. He'll join us a couple of times next week to give us all the information he is hearing in Orlando at the winter meetings, and we'll probably get a little bit more news. And coming up later on this hour, there's a lot of information that Jeff Passan and Buster Olney passed along in terms of what they're hearing around the rumor mill, and some information about Michael King that we want to talk about. Might give the Padres an opportunity to potentially bring him back. We'll talk about that later on this hour, but it's time to dive into what's going on and what's trending on the rumor mill, free agents and trades in Major League Baseball.
All right. So while we get that going, Cabo Verde just went into Group H, if you want to get on that while I'm reading this. Going up the list here.
I've never heard of that country before, ever.
The Pirates have traded Johan Oviedo to the Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox continue reshaping their roster by acquiring right-hander Johan Oviedo for the Pirates in a 5-player trade per MLB.com's Mark Feinsand. Boston also received prospect Tyler Samaniego, I'm guessing, left-handed pitcher, and Adonis Guzman, the catcher, while Pittsburgh receives MLB number 85 prospect. It's the kid they called the password, I believe, Garcia. And right-handed pitcher.
Why? Because his name is spelled Jhostynxon?
Yes. I don't remember how to pronounce it. I'm sorry. I'm not even going to hurt myself. It's the password.
The password.
And right-handed pitcher Jesus Travezo. Sure. Oviedo, under contract through 2027, has been effective while healthy, posting a 3.57 ERA in limited 2025 action after missing all of 2024 due to Tommy John surgery. The move follows Boston's earlier additions of Sonny Gray as the club continues to fortify its rotation.
His name would be Joes Tinson. Tinson Garcia. Tinson Garcia. The pronunciation on Baseball Reference is capital JOES dash lowercase TIN dash lowercase SON.
Jostinson. Okay.
Jostinson.
Have a normal name.
Jostinson. Jostinson Garcia. Jostinson Garcia.
How about have a normal name? Let's try that.
I mean, how about just spell it Jostinson? What's with the X's and the T's and the Y's and everything like that?
It's the password.
Jostinson. The password. All right. So, Red Sox get rotation ad. They're really, their rotation's actually getting pretty good right now. They already had Garrett Crochet. They traded for Sonny Gray. They had Johan Oviedo. And you know what? They're starting to put things together right now before the winter meetings. Not a bad move, I think, for the Boston Red Sox. Pirates get some more prospects. Where have we heard that before? The Pirates always just get a bunch of prospects. That's what's funny when we saw, what was that list we went over? It's like potential fits. It's all these big names like, oh, the Pirates, oh, the Pirates, oh, the Pirates.
Yeah.
They're not. Come on. Anyway, that's his nickname, DJ Royal. That's his nickname. His nickname is the password.
Yep. No, it was. That was the big thing with him coming up. Teoscar Hernandez could be on the move. Teoscar Hernandez is surfaced in trade discussions per
He's
the
a
Athletic.
surfer too?
Yes.
That's kind of sick.
Did I say that?
You said he was a surfer.
Has
He
surfaced
yeah.
in trade discussions per the Athletic, but a deal isn't. Now you got me messed up. Isn't considered likely at this point. Hernandez remains an appealing offensive piece after hitting 25 home runs in 2025, adding 5 more during the Dodgers championship run, though his defense continues to be a concern after posting -9 outs above average in right field. Even so, with few right-handed power bats available, teams may be willing to overlook the defensive issues. His contract salaries of $12 million in 2026 and $14.5 million in 27, with deferred money and a conditional 2028 option, is complicated, but it's not expected to be a major obstacle for clubs who are interested.
I'm curious to see why Teoscar Hernandez would be traded. Was he trying to save some money?
I mean, if they're looking for an upgrade, you need to find somewhere for Bellinger to go, would be my guess.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's the other thing with the Dodgers, too. It's like they could just go get the best guys every time. Well, you know what, Teoscar, you were really good the last couple of years, but
I ain't gonna lie, you helped us for a little bit, but that time is come and gone.
And so now we don't need your services anymore. The Dodgers do that a lot. They don't like really keep guys around anymore if they don't think that they can help the team out. So he's not great in the field. He was a disaster last year in the field for the Dodgers. So he's got some options in there too, and the deferred money. And the deferred money is interesting. Now they're going to start trading away all the deferred. Maybe they got to trade away some of his deferred money before the CBA.
I mean, if his bat is still there, I don't see why a team can't get him as a DH.
See, that's the thing with the Dodgers. That's the only pigeonhole with LA. I mean, most of the stuff benefits them with the Ohtani deal, but the problem with Ohtani is he doesn't play in the field. You need his bat in the lineup, so you can't have you can't move guys to DH.
Yeah.
So Teoscar Hernandez, they don't have room for DHs. He has to play. That was the situation that they had with Freddie Freeman in the postseason a couple years ago when he was banged up. It's he has to play first because we can't have him play. He can't be the DH, but we'll see. It's an interesting move potentially for the Dodgers. I'm curious to see what they do this offseason, try to win 3 World Series in a row.
Yeah, well, off you go. World Cup group draw is done. We'll get you those in a little bit. The Blue Jays.
USA's got a pretty.
It's a win. It's
they can navigate
group.
that for sure.
Blue Jays hosting Kyle Tucker for a visit. Four-time All-Star Kyle Tucker, this offseason's top free agent, was reportedly seen visiting the Blue Jays Florida complex on Wednesday, per Mark Feinsand. Toronto, already one of the most aggressive teams this winter, landing Dylan Cease on a 7-year, $210 million deal. And it's agreeing to a 3-year, $30 million contract with KBO MVP Cody Ponce, appears to be making its pitch for Tucker as interest in the star outfielder continues to grow across baseball.
It's always been a problem for the Blue Jays to sign free agents. They haven't been able to do it. Now, they got Ponce, and they grabbed him from the KBO, right, coming him back.
Mm-hmm.
The big one to me is they got Dylan Cease to go there. Because they've always been close, and they've always been the bridesmaid, not the bride, when it comes to a lot of these free agent pickups.
Mm-hmm.
If they can land Kyle Tucker, that would really flip the script.
Yeah, it feels like it's turning.
It'd feel like they're like, hey, look, I think maybe them making it to the World Series might have enticed a lot of potential free agents, and knowing that they have their young guys signed under contract. They're still waiting on Bo Bichette, obviously, and it sounded like Toronto wanted to bring him back. But with Vlad Guerrero Jr. being a part of the team for a long time, they improved their pitching with their starting rotation and going to get Dylan Cease. And if they go get Kyle Tucker, I mean, they're out there, they're balling out in Toronto. I'd love to see Kyle Tucker. Put as many of those guys on the Blue Jays as possible.
Yeah.
That's a team that the Padres only got to play 3 times next year. Go ahead. Load up the Blue Jays.
It also looks like the Chicago Cubs have reportedly made a 4-year offer to third baseman Alex Bregman before he ultimately signed with the Red Sox. So that's talking before last year. Last offseason, the Cubs made a 4-year deal, a 4-year offer for Bregman, and now it looks like they're going back at it again. So the Cubs are back in on the Alex Bregman train as they work towards this offseason.
That's interesting. I like the part with the Alex Bregman news where he's like, well, he wants to stay in Boston. Well, he could have.
Yeah, he could have.
He had 3 more years, $40 million a year for the next 3 years. And you could have worked out a contract extension after that. But he decided to opt out for more money. Gonna get $40 million a year. Everybody wants more years than the money somehow.
But from everything I'm hearing, and it's very, very interesting this year as compared to the last couple of years, it sounds like a lot of these deals for big name players are going to be done next week. A lot of guys wanting to get done before the winter meetings end, which has been very, very different from these last couple of years.
Yeah, the takeaways, a lot of good takeaways. Jeff Passan and Buster Only laid this out in their article today. They got asked a lot of questions on ESPN.com, and they answered a lot of them. But it sounded like Kyle Schwarber is the centerpiece of the winter meetings. And as soon as he signs, everybody else is going to start signing. And the thing is there's always been a guy like that, right? There's always been a guy like that. And for the last couple of years, it's been a guy that's willing to sit out for a long period of time. I don't think Kyle Schwarber is a guy that's one of those. He's not a Shohei Ohtani type, right? Where he's looking for the bet. Like, to me, Kyle Schwarber's not like that. What are you freaking out about?
We have the Village People on stage.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I see that. The Temptations played last night at halftime of the Detroit Lions-Dallas Cowboys game.
Yeah, which Amazon showed all of 5 seconds of.
Why are you doing a halftime show for a random Thursday night game? That's my question. All right. There's some interesting news and notes about that. Some kind of a winter meetings primer. We're going to tell you what Jeff Passan and Buster Only have been reporting. There's a lot of good info behind the scenes that we're going to get to when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan.
An illegal
Remember to listen at 1 o'clock for us to announce today's biggest fan for a chance to qualify for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a future Padres game with all the fan staff. Register your name at 97thfansd.com/biggest fan in order to potentially have your name called. Interesting article today by Jeff Passan and Buster Only that lays out some of the news and notes around Major League Baseball, but also what they're hearing on a couple of things going into the winter meetings. Winter meetings are in Orlando. They're expected to explode with activity, but obviously this year's storyline isn't one massive star like Juan Soto last year or Shohei Ohtani the year before that. The offseason is being shaped by some tight budgets, labor uncertainty, a clogged free agent market, and the domino effect of what I guess it sounds like, according to Jeff Passan and Buster Only, Kyle Schwarber's eventual signing. Buster Only and Jeff Passan outline a landscape where elite players will still get paid, but many traditionally aggressive teams are tightening up, pushing the league toward more trades than mega contracts. Before we dive into that, just the whole mega contract thing, I think we're running out of players that deserve mega contracts at this point, Frank. I mean,
Yeah.
And I think a lot of teams are starting to realize it's like there's no reason to get a mega contract to some of these players when you know they're going to age and you're not going to get the more bang for your buck. I think the market's starting to shift a little bit when it comes to some of these deals.
Yeah, and that's why, I mean, it was stupid to begin with, but especially if you are going into a salary cap era, there's no reason now, if you're an owner, to lock these guys up on massive contracts when you could do it in a couple of years on much more affordable deals. It makes no sense.
So with that being said, here's some of the biggest takeaways and notes that Buster Only and Jeff Passan are reporting. They think Schwarber is the biggest domino that will break the market. So somebody asked earlier, why are we talking about Schwarber? He's not going to sign here. Yeah, dude. Well, he's going to set the market. So you really can't make a lot of moves until this guy signs. And once he signs, then everybody else is going to sign. That's kind of how this works in every offseason, Frank, is it not?
Yeah, there's usually one guy that sets the market, and then everything else goes from there.
We knew Juan Soto wasn't going to sign with the Padres last year, but a lot of big-time bats can't get moved, or players can't get moved until that number one bat moves. He sets the market. And right now, Kyle Schwarber, according to these guys, Buster Only, Jeff Passan, is the centerpiece of the winter meetings. Teams across both leagues, Phillies, Mets, Blue Jays, Reds, Pirates, Orioles, and Boston are waiting on him to make their next move. He's expected to have a 5-year deal, even though he's at age 32. And once he signs, they say the offseason will pick up demonstrably. Passan's big rumor: the New York Mets could push the Phillies into the Schwarber bidding. Even if they don't plan to sign him, they might inflate Phillies' price. We talked about that yesterday, did we not? Or maybe a couple of days ago?
Yeah.
I didn't see him as a fit for the Mets, but I thought the Mets could get involved to try to make the Phillies have to pay a little bit more money than they would like to bring in a guy to bring Kyle Schwarber back. So I think there might be some of that being played in this particular deal as well. To me, looking at the situation, I think Kyle Schwarber, I honestly think Boston's going to sign him. I think it's either going to be Boston or Philly. I don't think he's really anybody else. I know close to home with the Reds. I just don't see Kyle Schwarber signing with Cincinnati. And so to me, it's the Red Sox or the Phillies if I had to pick. I'm leaning more towards the Red Sox making that move, Frank.
I would too. If anyone, that's kind of the way we had said it the other day, was if it's not the Phillies, it'll be the Red Sox. The Mets will be after that. And then I think there's really only 3 teams in on Schwarber.
So that was one of the big takeaways. Another big takeaway that Buster Only and Jeff Passan talked about was the market is tighter than usual. And players are worried about it. Agents have said that the money is generally locked down across Major League Baseball. Labor tensions are looming over teams' budgets. The Blue Jays may be one of the few teams willing to spend. Pirates, Marlins, and A's want to look aggressive publicly. Did we not say that? Did we not call that a couple of days ago?
Yes, we did.
they're being linked to all of these players because they want to look like they're trying, but they don't actually want to spend the money. It's great that that's now getting somewhat reported. They're just saying they want to look in the public eye like they're trying. That's exactly what the plan is for the Pirates and the Marlins and the, who else did they name? The A's.
Yeah, the A's.
The A's might actually sign somebody just because they have to be appealing to Las Vegas. Oh, hey, look at this brand new team we have. Ha ha ha. But as much as like Padres fans would be upset that like the Padres are like budget baseball, it doesn't sound like anybody's really wanting to spend money right now, Frank.
No, and I think a lot of people are setting up for, a lot of these teams are setting up for that salary cap fight. And not to say that they're trying to get within the salary cap that they're wanting, but why go out and spend the money when you know next year you're not going to have to? Why spend it now? Why lock yourself down now when you can get the same guy or a different guy if they want a long-term contract, if they get a one-year deal this year, when you can go out and sign him for cheaper next year? You're going to see a lot of these markets, if that is the case, and if a salary cap comes in, the average going rate for a mid-range starting pitcher isn't going to be $20 million anymore. So why spend $20 million on a mid-range starting pitcher when you can more likely than not get one cheaper next year?
They say a warning sign was Cedric Mullins taking a 1-year, $7 million deal so quickly. I think that is kind of a warning sign because when he signed yesterday, I was like, that's a great sign for Tampa.
Yeah.
1 year, $7 million. I can't believe he signed so fast. And what they put in this particular article, they suggest that mid-tier players are fear losing their seat in a game of musical chairs.
It's not the Padres are returning to the budget baseball days. It's the entire league is doing this.
Correct.
Ramping up and getting ready for what they want to have happen next year, which is a salary cap and salary floor. This is a league-wide thing. This isn't just the team. This isn't just one team.
Do we think, with the owners right now with the salary cap and salary floor, if I'm the players, right? I mean, to me, wouldn't you want to get to free agency faster then, right? When you're young, so you become more valuable.
Yes.
I'm curious to see if they negotiate the whole, and the arbitration control, because you got 3 years of control and then they get arbitration.
Mm-hmm.
I almost feel like you should have. If I'm the players, I'm trying to get that number down.
I'd take a year off of each end. I'd say 2 years of control and 2 years of arbitration.
I still think I would, if I'm the players, I want more than that. I mean, the players are going to be clawing and fighting to not have a salary cap or a salary floor. If that is the case, they're going to have to get something very lucrative.
2 years of control, 1 of arbitration?
Yeah.
The time and half.
I think that's probably the best. I think you get 3 years of total control. And
So 3 years of team control and no
your rookie
arbitration.
deal's like 3 years, right?
Yeah.
That's what it needs to be.
That's fair.
4 years max. And your clock ticks as soon as you get brought up to Major League Baseball. And there needs to be incentives to bring guys up to Major League Baseball.
There are.
Well, they need to be more, right? Like, because I'm thinking from a standpoint of like the players need to get something out of this if they're so worried about the salary. Because the owners are going to get the salary cap and the salary.
There are incentives for the teams to bring players up and keep them up.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think those are enough for them to be like, is this worth burning a year? It's like the same thing with like redshirting in college.
Mm-hmm.
Is this worth burning a year when we can have another year of this guy later in development? Like, yeah. I don't think the rules that they have in place for the incentives to get guys up to the major league level, those to me are working for the current rules. I don't think they work for the future rules. But I think you could throw something in there where if you bring a guy up and he wins, if he is a finalist or he gets votes for a Rookie of the Year award, maybe you get an extra year or maybe you get to pick up a club option on the contract of the rookie deal. It's almost like those deals with like in the NFL and the rookie deals, you can opt into the fifth year of some of those draft picks or something to lay out. But I think that might be coming to Major League Baseball. I mean, the players got to get creative with trying to find something that they like that they want back, because this is going to get kind of crazy. So I think the warning signs are there as well. Now, who's going to be the first guy to move and who's coming after that? Jeff Passan and Buster Only lay out what they think is going to happen with the hitting market, and there's some stuff in the pitching market that affects the Padres. We'll talk about that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We got tickets to Zach Bryan to give away today. We talked about one of the Zach Bryan songs that took us back from break. American Nights. That was the song yesterday. And at the end, there was another song that came on that was part of our rejoiner music. That song might be the answer to the question at 115 to win Zach Bryan tickets. Pay attention. If you were paying attention yesterday, we'll remind you. She wants a cowboy. Anyway, let's move on. All right. A lot to unpack from the Jeff Passan and Buster Only article today. So we wanted to spend a couple segments on it. But we talked about the big market. And this was what I was trying to say about like Kyle Schwarber, right? Like Kyle Schwarber, would you put him in the same conversation in terms of like face of franchise changing player? Like a Juan Soto, like a Shohei Ohtani, like Manny Machado and Bryce Harper. I mean, think about all of the deals, right? Like think about all of the big time free agents over the last 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons. This is one of the first years where you don't have one of those guys. Like Kyle Schwarber's not that guy. It's a good player. It's a good asset to have on the team. Like guy hit 50 plus bombs. Great lineup. Great guy to have in the lineup. You know, Kyle Tucker, kind of the same, but this is not a massive free agent class where it's like, oh my God, this guy's going to have to wait. He's going to drive or fly around. And it's not like a big recruiting trip.
Yeah.
Which makes me feel like it's going to move things a lot faster than the winter meetings. The winter meetings to me, I think is going to go by. I think there's going to be a lot of people signing in the winter meetings. I think, and a lot of the problems, or should I say concerns that players have that have been laid out by Buster Only and Jeff Passan in their article are a lot of signs. And I think, and I agree with them, Cedric Mullins taking a 1-year, $7 million deal so fast into free agency is a warning sign to what the market could be. A lot of guys jumping off. Which hitters could move first? Everybody thinks they're going to wait for Kyle Schwarber, which is interesting to me. I thought Kyle Tucker would kind of set the market, but it sounds like Kyle Schwarber might be the guy, Frank.
Yeah, Schwarber is going to be the one to set the market. Guys like Ohtani and Soto, and in this year's case, Kyle Tucker, those are not going to be the guys to set the market because they are a step above the market. Schwarber is right on that second level. He is the best of the rest, is how I would put it. So Schwarber is going to be the one that sets the market. And that lets everybody else know, hey, okay, so Pete Alonso is going to be worth this much. If it was a starting pitcher, let's just say, well, Dylan Cease, we'll throw it as Dylan Cease. We know what Dylan Cease is offered, is signed for, so now everyone else is going to fall in line from there. If Schwarber goes early in the winter meetings, you're going to get a flurry of activity. You're going to get a flurry of signings at the winter meetings in Orlando. And if he doesn't, things are going to go a little bit slower.
The other players that are on this list. So they said Kyle Tucker could jump early if Toronto pushes a $400+ million offer, but they have put in this article multiple times. It's not a winter to wait it out. I think we're going to get a lot of signings during the winter meetings. And then yes. I think once Schwarber and Tucker sign, you're going to see guys like Jorge Polanco sign, JT Realmuto, Ha-Seong Kim.
Right. But like I said, Tucker and Bregman are a step above everyone else. So they're not on the same time frame as a Pete Alonso or a Ha-Seong Kim or a Jorge Polanco or whoever else. Those guys are going to take their time and they're going to do what they're going to do. They're going to go through the courtship process. They're going to do all that. It's Schwarber and everyone below him that are waiting on it's everyone below Schwarber who's waiting on Schwarber to sign. Bregman and Tucker are on a completely different plane. They're in a completely different universe as far as the money that they are going to get. So they're not on the same time frame as everybody else. In my mind, at least.
Yeah, but I still think it's gonna roll through. Mm-hmm. And I think once Kyle Schwarber signs, it's going to be Kyle Schwarber, and then it's going to break off. It's going to be Kyle Tucker, and Alex Bregman, but then also at the same time, Polanco and Realmuto and Kim and Okamoto and all those guys on the second tier are going to sign. And I think Pete Alonso is just going to wait for Schwarber to sign before he makes a decision. And I think it's going to be nonstop.
He's going to want something similar to Schwarber.
I'd be very shocked if any of those guys that we just mentioned sign like the week before spring training.
Correct. Yeah.
Pitching market after Dylan Cease. Top tier ace is still available. Framber Valdez, Ranger Suarez, Michael King, Merrill Kelly. Framber Valdez is an innings eater, playoff pedigree, huge deal incoming. Ranger Suarez, believe the next off the board. After Dylan Cease signed, Merrill Kelly, age 37, but big interest, multi-year offers. You also have veteran legends like Scherzer and Verlander. They are in no rush to sign. They might just get a deal kind of late. Those are arms that I don't really want to worry about.
Those are we need one starter. There's nobody left. Let's go and get an established name to try to help us out.
Does a contender want to add one of these guys?
Exactly. Yeah.
And if they don't, then they're just going to be like, all right, cool. I'm cool with not pitching. They have the leverage because they can just walk into retirement if they wanted to. The thing that was interesting about Michael King, though, that I want to talk about was, and this is what they said about Michael King, frontline potential, shorter-term deal appealing to teams. But the direct quote from the article from Jeff Passan, right-hander Michael King has widespread interest because of his frontline potential with a willingness to sign for a shorter term than the top starters. We saw the projection yesterday, and I forget who it was. I think it might have been Kylie McDaniel. He had Michael King at like 3 years, $57 million. 3 years, 57. I'm sorry. If Michael King signs for anything under $75 million, I'm going to be honest. Like, Padres fans, that needs to be a guy on the team. Like, he's affordable in that sense, unless there's something else that you're afraid of. But to me, like, a 3-year, $57 million deal, I mean, paying him under $20 million a year to bring him back to San Diego, that to me seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Not knowing what the finances are for the Padres.
Oh, exactly. That feels more affordable than any of us thought that it would be. I mean, we were talking about having him, what was it, 5 years, 25 is what I said, based off of the 3 years, 75 that was reported. So, I mean, I can't see if that is the case, and if the Padres can afford it, I don't see how you let that slide.
I know. Did we get the money on the Adcock sign yet?
Not that I've seen.
Let me pull up our fun website, Fangraphs.
I'll investigate here.
He's not on there yet. He did sign a major league deal, though. I would imagine it's probably super cheap.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen anything from. I'm looking at Casabell's article from yesterday. He hasn't updated it. There's no money number in here.
I look at the so Jeff Passan, Buster Olney are saying the hitters market's going to move fast. The starting pitcher market might move fast, and then the relief market might be moving slow. There's a flood of relievers on the market. There's more than 100 available arms in the bullpen arms. This is why, again, we continue to say, if you make Mason Miller a starting pitcher, you have options to replace the bullpen, Frank. There's over 100 arms available in the bullpen. I mean, they just signed Ty Adcock for probably league minimum. I don't know what the deal is yet. I don't know what the contract is, but they just signed him. He throws close to 100 miles an hour. He's one of those guys. Probably going for like nothing. There's going to be a lot of arms out there that throw over 100 miles an hour. And here's the thing. I got a family friend who plays for the White Sox organization. He's out there in the, during the off season, in the Arizona Complex League, basically, they're training. And the White Sox share a facility with the Dodgers. Did I talk to you about this? Because I just saw him the other day. He says they go against the Dodgers minor leaguers every day.
Okay.
They scrimmage every day. He said there's not a single arm that the Dodgers have that doesn't throw over 100 miles an hour. He says every Dodgers arm throws 97 to over 100 miles an hour. And he talked about how it's like, I'll be on deck, and the guy in front of, like the guy up at the plate will wear one in the noggin on a fastball over 100 miles an hour, and I got to go in there and face it. He's like, most of the guys don't even know how to throw a strike. They're just finding guys that throw 100 miles an hour.
And nothing can go wrong.
I was talking to a high school baseball coach in town, Frank,
Mm-hmm.
and he knows scouts, obviously. And one of the scouts with the Dodgers said they're scouting like in Africa right now, the Dodgers are. They went and found some kid that they're teaching him how to play baseball, and he throws over 100 miles an hour. I mean, they're just going out and trying to find just players that can teaching young kids how to play baseball and throwing 100 miles an hour. I know I know a guy that's in development with the Orioles. He's a local kid. He's been working in development, and he signs a 1-year deal every year with somebody else. He was with the Orioles last year down in the Dominican.
Mm-hmm.
He said they picked up a kid that had never played baseball before in his life. He's like 15, and he throws 100 miles an hour. And they're just teaching him the mechanics. They're teaching him the game. They're teaching him how to play baseball. They're just finding guys that could just throw. They're just athletic kids.
How do you never pick up a ball and just automatically throw 100? How? How do you do that?
You know what it is? It's like it's the same conversation about soccer in the United States. How many football players and basketball players and baseball players and athletes in the United States that are elite athletes that are playing these sports that would otherwise be playing soccer if they were in a different, like if soccer was the most important sport in the United States?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're talking about, like, think about all the athletes that the NBA has. If the United States had
medical enhancement on a 15-year-old.
Oh, come on. Foul.
I know
foul out Friday.
I know that's a joke, but brother, come on.
He brought the foul.
But think about that. That's the same thing. I mean, in these other countries, like this, we just did the World Cup seeding, right? Soccer is the most popular sport in the world. Every country's like their main sport, soccer.
Mm-hmm.
They're all playing soccer. How many athletes out there would be like really good other sports players? They just don't play the sport. So there's going to be probably a lot of athletes maybe down in the Dominican Republic or wherever they are having these scouts that are finding athletes that usually play soccer or some other sport. And they're like, oh, never really played baseball. And look how good I am at baseball. They don't have the options in a lot of these places. So they're scouring the world now as the game continues to grow.
It's just a freak athlete is all that is.
But you're getting now to a sense with bullpen arms where like almost everybody now almost everybody now in the bullpen throws over 100 miles an hour. How many Padres throw over 100 miles an hour? Or at least touch 100? Jeremiah Estrada touches 100.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian Morejon touches 100. Mason Miller, we know, throws over 100.
Bradley Rodriguez
throws 100
a couple times. Did Morgan?
David Morgan throws in the high 90s, close to 100. I mean, think about that. There's over 100 bullpen arms on the market. Ty Adcock is a guy that like nobody's even heard of. He's only played in 18 games in Major League Baseball. He throws 100.
I love how the bullpen is just becoming no brain, just throw hard.
Throw hard and throw one off-speed pitch.
Throw hard, no think.
Correct. So that's the reliever market. That's why it's like, if you could make this guy a starter, there's not a lot of starters available. If you could make this guy a starter, you could go find bullpen arms. They grow on trees. They actually do grow on trees. Remember to say like starting pitching doesn't grow on trees? Big time hitters don't grow on trees. Bullpen arms are a dime a dozen right now, are finding guys that throw 100 miles an hour. That's the relief market. They expect, Buster Olney and Jeff Passan expect trades to dominate the headlines. They think Ketel Marte could potentially move. They think Stephen Kwan's going to move. They think Mackenzie Gore's going to move. They think Brandon Lau's going to move. Boston is shopping from its outfield surplus. I mean, Jarren Duran could be on the move. They think Miami might trade a starter. Edward Cabrera is the hottest name. St. Louis is debating whether to cash it on Brendan Donovan. We talked about that yesterday. Even players with control through 2027 may move due to labor uncertainty and fear of diminished July trade deadline value. That's why Teoscar Hernandez is available on the market. you might see a bunch of trades at the winter meetings next week. It might not be just the free agent signings of Kyle Schwarber. I think that you're going to see a ton of trades. The CBA lingering might cause a lot of chaos at the winter meetings this year.
Yeah, and I saw Nate in the chat say, didn't we say this about the winter meetings last year and none of it happened? There wasn't the imminent threat of a work stoppage,
Correct.
a labor stoppage this year, like there was last year. There is a very, very real possibility that once the World Series ends next year, baseball, it goes dark for a year. There is a very, very real possibility of that.
Let's get to today's sports thread really quickly. And
You
we'll
know
talk
that
more
group
about
chat,
this
the one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me.
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk. Brought to you by QC Kinetics. Stop sitting on the sidelines. QC Kinetics gets you back in the game without surgery. To learn how, visit QCkinetics.com.
All right, let's jump right on into it here.
Number 1.
Did you see last night after the game, Richard Sherman basically calling out George Pickens for being slow and lazy? Oh my God, George Pickens just had just posted on his Instagram page. Guy's hot.
Love it.
Hot.
Love it so much.
He called him Richard Soft Blame Sherman, but instead of soft, he uses a different term.
God. Speaking of being a little soft, the NBA has fined the Cleveland Cavaliers $250,000 for violating the league's player participation policy after resting star guard Darius Garland during a nationally televised game on November 24th. This is Cleveland's second violation this season, following a $100,000 fine for resting Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley earlier in November. The league ruled that Garland was capable of playing since he appeared in the first game of the back-to-back set. The policy is intended to ensure star players are available for nationally televised matchups. Do you think the NBA's strict enforcement of player participation rules is fair to the teams managing injury and fatigue, or does it place too much emphasis on protecting nationally televised games?
What are you talking about again?
So I love that we listen to each other.
Yes.
It's so good. The NBA fined the Cavaliers $250,000 for resting Darius Garland for their nationally televised game on the 24th. It's the second time they've been hit for the players' participation policy this year.
And so your question was should it be more for the should it be more for the nationally televised games?
Do you think the NBA restricts strict player enforcement of participation policy rules is fair to teams managing injuries and fatigue, or does it place too much emphasis on protecting national games?
I think they need to play. How many games they play? 80 something, 82. Play the games. They get paid hundreds of millions of dollars to play basketball. Play basketball. This is not a problem in any other league.
No, it's not.
It's not a problem in any other league. Play basketball. It's not like it's baseball where they play every single day. They have nights off. They play well. They get taken care of. Play basketball. The entire offseason where you don't play basketball. Just play basketball. I don't understand why this is such a hard concept for the NBA. Just have your players play. People want to watch your good players play. Play basketball. So dumb.
There you go.
Number 2.
The one I wanted to get to is a little bit long, but here we go. The NHL is warning against against the growing trend of players taking pregame warm-ups without their helmets. Deputy Commissioner Bill Daley emphasized that Rule 9.6 mandates that helmets for all players who enter the NHL in 2019 and 2020 or later. Some teams like the Ottawa Senators and San Jose Sharks recently skated helmetless in Las Vegas in hopes of changing their losing streaks, while the Devils wore hats to honor Brendan Dillon's 1,000th game. It is a safety concern for the NHL. That's why the rule is there.
I don't really care if they wear helmets or not. Make them sign something that says they're not responsible if they get hurt during warm-ups. I mean, they don't have that in the NFL. It's got a lot of guys warm up without gear. I get what the NHL doesn't want to get sued, basically.
More or less.
Noon lunchtime hour when we come back.
San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
All guests on 97 to the Fan, join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys, helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. Had a fun NFL game last night. It was fun for everybody, but maybe the officials last night. I mean, they were throwing a flag every 30 seconds. You know what's not great, Frank, was when you're watching Thursday Night Football and Al Michaels is complaining about the flags.
Yeah, no, that's not usually a good idea.
He usually does. Well, he does it all the time, but he does it from a sense of, there's another one. There's another one.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we slowing down the game as much as we are for all these flags? So last night in the NFL, Richard Sherman on the post game, it was so funny. He basically, there's some highlights of George Pickens, and he ain't running very hard, it looks like on tape. And so he calls out George Pickens for costing his team. I mean, he was ruthless with what he had to say in the post game. And I got to see if this is legit or not. But I saw a response from George Pickens today on Instagram. And I think this is George Pickens. He posted on his story today.
Mm-hmm.
Just a phenomenal breakdown. He has since maybe deleted it. It's just so funny. Just the responses back from some of these, from some of the receivers. He was just like, I expect more from somebody that played in the league. That's a nice way of saying it. But a big weekend in the National Football League this weekend. Detroit with a win over the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys could not stop the run at all early in the contest. Jahmyr Gibbs was having a day, and once they started to bottle it up in between the tackles on the perimeter, Dallas Cowboys could not stop anything. And every time the Cowboys scored to pull within one score, either to pull within a field goal or pull within 8 points, the Lions would score in 3 plays, really off of the big runs off kick return. Their kick return team was great. And so the Cowboys lose the Lions 44-30. That was our Thursday night game. But we got a lot of great games to talk about as we get to today's NFL whip around.
As I work through some of the
bold predictions.
That's the thing.
As noted every single time, the bold predictions are written by, I think it's Matt Walder on here.
I think there's a couple people.
Walder does all the bold predictions. I just got Seth Walder. He's the analytics writer for ESPN. He makes the bold predictions. That's why you get the nerd ones every once in a while.
Yep.
So as we go through the list, Seth Walder will have his bold prediction. We'll buy or sell said bold predictions to get you ready for the NFL weekend. Let's start with Seattle and Atlanta, Frank.
The 9-3 Seattle Seahawks taking on the 4-8 Atlanta Falcons. Seahawks favored by 7 on the road in this game.
I'll take Seattle in this game. Every time I keep waiting for Atlanta's team to be the Bijan Robinson team, they're not. And even though Kirk Cousins has run a clean operation for the most part since taking over for Michael Penix Jr., keeping the Falcons in the last 2 games with a chance to win late, it's still they lost to the Jets last week. It just seems like it's the beginning of the end for maybe that staff over there in Atlanta. Start over again, I guess. Adam has more to talk about when it comes to the Falcons, but I'll take the Seahawks.
Speaking of Bijan Robinson, Falcons running back Bijan Robinson will record at least 7 receptions.
Well, Seth Walder talks about how the Seahawks defense allows targets to running backs 21% of the time, second highest rate in the league. And with Seattle's defense being so stout against the run, Falcons surely will look to get Robinson the ball in other ways. I believe that. I'll buy it. Bijan Robinson is like the only major factor that the Falcons really have this season, the only lone bright spot. And if the Seahawks stuff the run, you got to give your playmakers the ball in some capacity. They're going to be giving him the ball in certain ways. I think he will get at least 7 receptions on Sunday.
The 4-8 Cincinnati Bengals are in Buffalo to take on the Bills. Bills favored by 5.5. This could be a huge telltale game for Cincinnati and what the rest of their season is going to look like.
I think Cincinnati can win this game. In fact, Buffalo's been okay. They haven't been phenomenal. I know they ran into a good Texans defense, but I think Cincinnati's going to get them. I'm going to take the Bengals plus 5.5. They're just so much different with Joe Burrow. Now, can they keep Joe Burrow afloat and keep him upright? It's going to be an interesting conversation. But I think Cincinnati might shock some people and beat Buffalo on Sunday.
If Cincinnati wins this game, I can see them winning the AFC North.
They win this game, they will win the AFC North.
I would agree with that.
They're going to beat the Ravens at home.
I would agree with that 100%. The Bills will post a pass block win rate of over 85%.
Nerd. Bills have the highest pass block win rate in the NFL, but the Bengals have the third worst pass rush win rate in the NFL. Sure. Sounds good. Stats to know, Chase Brown has a franchise record 6 straight games with 100-plus scrimmage yards. The only players with a longer streak in the past 5 seasons are the 49ers' Christian McCaffrey and the Colts' Jonathan Taylor. McCaffrey in 2023, Taylor in 2021. That's by ESPN Stat and Research on that one. The thing is this game, there's a lot at stake for this game. We talked about Cincinnati. Cincinnati and Buffalo are facing different battles in the playoff push. The Bills have a 90% chance of making the playoffs according to ESPN Analytics, and that goes up to 96% chance with a win and down to 79% chance with a loss. Meanwhile, the Bengals have a 7% chance to make the playoffs according to ESPN Analytics. That doubles with a win and goes down to 3% with a loss. I think the Bengals win on Sunday.
Their season hangs on this game. They're going to throw everything they have at it. I believe they can win this game too. The 1-11 Tennessee Titans take on the 3-9 Cleveland Browns. Browns favored by 4.5 in this game.
What's at stake in this game, Frank? I love ESPN Stat and Research.
The first overall pick.
No. The Titans... Well, the Titans are eliminated from playoff contention, and the Browns are at the bottom of the AFC North standings. So this game is all about, draft picks. The Titans have a 48% chance, the number 1 overall pick, according to ESPN Analytics. That goes up to 67% with a loss and down to 28% with a win. Browns currently have an 8% chance for the top pick, according to ESPN Analytics. It's a tough game. This is a tough draft battle right here. I can see the Titans winning this game just because they can't do anything right. But I'll take the Browns minus 4.5. They've played a lot better this season than the Titans have. And let's see. Hey, Shador, man, just give him a couple weeks, right, Frank?
Yeah, exactly.
Just give him a couple weeks. He'll be good to go. Titans are 1-13-1 against the spread this year. Against the spread in December since 2022. It's the worst in the NFL. I'll take the Browns.
Bold prediction: the Browns will hold Titans running back Tony Pollard to under 30 rushing yards.
Yeah, the Titans don't have much of a run game with Tony Pollard. Tajay Spears.
Next up, then, the 3-9 Washington Commanders taking on the 4-8 Minnesota Vikings. Vikings favored by 1.5 at home.
That started at 2.5. I'm going to take the Commanders. They look better. I mean, they really gave Denver a run for their money. And it sounds like, is Jaden Daniels cleared? Is he playing?
I believe he is cleared.
I want to say he is. I'm going to look it up real quick. But it sounds like Jaden Daniels is clear to return. He's back. So I thought they did fairly well with Marcus Mariota on Sunday Night Football. I'm gonna take Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. I think they beat Minnesota. Minnesota looked awful last week. Awful. I mean, they might have J.J. McCarthy back. He's coming back out of the lineup after concussion kept him out last week, but their quarterback play was bad. They got shut out by Seattle. I'll take Washington.
Commanders kicker Jake Moody will miss an extra point. This just feels rude.
Moody's been perfect on extra points.
The guy to miss an extra point. Come on.
How about this? This is some nerd stuff right here. Moody has been perfect on extra points, but he has a -8% field goal percentage over expectation. Third worst among kickers with at least 10 field goal attempts. Seth Walder is grasping at straws for the bold predictions. I'm going to buy it, though, because Jake Moody has been completely underwhelming as a kicker ever since Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit talked about how perfect he was in the Fiesta Bowl against TCU. And then, he got drafted high by the Niners and got cut by the Niners because he was so bad. He's bounced around. Now with the Commanders, I can see him missing a PAT. Where's this game again? It's indoors, though.
It's indoors, yeah.
God, he misses a PAT indoors. He must really... I'll buy it, though, just for chaos.
They must really hate him. 5-7 Miami Dolphins versus...
Did Seth Walder go to Ohio State?
I don't know. Miami Dolphins versus the 3-9 New York Jets. Jets 2.5-point home dogs.
Stat to know by ESPN Stat and Research. The Dolphins have lost 7 straight games, including the playoffs, in sub 45-degree temperatures at kickoff, with their last win in those conditions on December 19th, 2019 in New England. I'll take the Jets. Jets, Jets.
Dolphins defensive end Chop Robinson will be held without a pass rush win.
Sure.
Cool.
Thanks, Seth.
The 2-10 New Orleans Saints taking on the 7-5 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bucks favored by 8.5 at home. I'll
take Tampa. It's a good. Did you hear Eddie yesterday? He talked about it as a good quarterback matchup for New Orleans starting quarterback because the Bucks can't stop anybody. I still think the Bucks win. New Orleans might be one of the worst teams I've ever seen, and they've won 2 games. I'll take Tampa.
Bucks cornerback Jamel Dean will record a pick.
Yes, I think the Saints are going to be throwing a lot, and Schlo's going to throw multiple picks.
8-4 Indianapolis Colts taking on the 8-4 Jacksonville Jaguars. Jags 1.5-point dogs at home. Just like I said with the Cincinnati game, this could be a game where if the Colts win, they might be a for real team.
The winner will have at least a 60% chance to win the division, while the loser will drop to under 20%. That's what's at stake. I got Jacksonville at home. They're going to have to ride Jonathan Taylor a lot in this game, and I don't think Daniel Jones will be able to put up a 300-plus passing yard day in order to make it happen.
So you're selling that.
I will sell that.
Got it.
I know the Jags defense isn't very good. I think you got Daniel Jones early. He was hot. He hasn't been as hot in recent weeks. The Colts haven't played as well in recent weeks. Jags have done pretty decent. I'm taking Jacksonville in this one at home, and I think they overtake the Colts for first place in the AFC South.
The 6-6 Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the 6-6 Baltimore Ravens. Ravens favored by 5.5.
I'll take Baltimore in this one for sure. This one's interesting too. The winner will be in first place in the AFC North. According to ESPN Analytics, the Ravens enter with a 60% chance to win the division, which would increase to 75% with a win or fall to 30% with a loss. The Steelers enter with a 33% chance to win the division, which increases to 63% with a win and falls to 18% with a loss. And the game's in Baltimore. Quote the Raven to Pittsburgh, nevermore. I'm taking the Ravens.
Steelers slot corner Brandon Eccles will allow at least 5 receptions.
5 receptions will allow 5. Yeah, I'll buy it.
10-2.
Oh, the Denver Broncos
Against the 2-10 Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders 7.5-point dogs at home.
I'm taking Denver.
The
Raiders suck. Have the Raiders played the Saints yet? Do they get to play the Saints?
I don't know.
I'd love to see. You know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see a playoff for the number 1 pick. That's what I would love to see.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That'd be fun.
Broncos left tackle Garrett Bowles will record a 100% pass block rate win.
Sure.
Got it.
He's going against Max Crosby, but the Raiders are so bad. I just saw this graphic the other day. I thought it was hilarious. I got to pull it up for you because it's so funny. It's a Raiders helmet, and it says, "If you don't support us when we go 2-15 this year,
I saw that. Yeah.
don't think about jumping on the bandwagon. We go 3-14 next year."
Saw that.
They're so bad.
This game, I mentioned it yesterday. I'm very surprised that this is going to be in 2 of 3 weeks, but it'll be the 9-3 team that is known as
The Bears. The Bears.
taking on the 8-3-1 Green Bay Packers. Pack 6.5-point favorites at home.
I'm taking the Pack. How about Ben Johnson this week talking about, and he didn't mince words. He said the Bears are winning games in spite of our passing game, not because of it. Oh, that's really endearing to Caleb Williams, huh?
Yeah, well, you know.
But he clarified he isn't dissatisfied with the play of Caleb Williams. Nice, buddy. Quarterback was off target on 27% of his passes Sunday against the Eagles, which Johnson attributed to factors such as the wind, ball placement, and route depth, and had a 47% completion rate.
When we're complaining that the receivers are going too deep, we might have a problem.
Here's what Ben Johnson had to say. I know what the stats say. Throw those out the window. He's doing a really good job managing the game. That's step number 1 for the quarterback, and he's going to continue to get better. So he's a game manager. He just admitted that his starting quarterback's a game manager, and the passing game sucks.
The Packers will hold the Bears to a 38% success rate on the ground.
I think they're going to win this game, which means they got to stop the run because the Bears can actually run the ball. And so I will buy that.
The 9-3 Los Angeles Rams taking on the 3-9 Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals 8. Cool.
Cardinals suck.
The Cardinals
Suck.
will not have a positive EPA sweep run all game.
Seth Walder with his bold predictions. I will buy the bold prediction from Seth. I want to go back to the Bears and Packers. What's at stake? Teams are going to play each other twice in 3 weeks.
Yes.
They'll play again in 2 weeks. So yeah, twice in 3 weeks. With a win, the Bears could have a 64% chance to win the NFC North, but that would fall to 22% chance with a loss, according to ESPN Analytics. Meanwhile, the Packers have a 71% chance to win the NFC North with a win, and that drops to 27% with a loss. There's a lot of games that have the divisions on the line this weekend, which is going to be fun, and a lot more fun than it was last weekend.
Sunday Night Football. I don't understand how they didn't flex this one. The 7-5 Houston Texans against the 6-6 Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs favored by 3.5.
That's not a bad game, though, Frank. Those are two teams battling for a playoff spot.
There are better games.
That's a good game, though. That's not a bad game. That's not a bad. You flex bad games for good games. You don't flex good games for better games.
You could have flexed the Bears, Packers. That would have drawn so much. Bears, Packers fighting for first
Fox.
place.
That's probably Fox's big game. You can't flex that game. Fox is going to allow that. NBC only has certain games that they can flex to. Like, you can't flex that game because Fox. That's going to be Fox's main game. So you can't flex that one. You'd have to find it, and then you can't flex the main CBS game. So that's not a bad game for NBC. I like this game. I think it's going to be good. I think the Texans are going to win. Texans defense is good.
Texans will be held to under 50 yards after the catch,
which would be their lowest mark of the season. I'm selling it because I think the Texans win. I know the game's in Kansas City. If they win, it'll be penalty aided, but Texans got a good defense.
All right, last one, Monday Night Football.
What's at stake? Chiefs and Texans rank among the top 5 teams with the most to gain or lose this week. With the win, the Chiefs will have a 55% chance to make the playoffs. If they lose, it drops to 12%. Texans would have a 77% chance of making the playoffs with a win. They fall to 37% with a loss. This is a must-win game for Kansas City.
Yes,
on Sunday.
Absolutely.
Monday Night Football.
I didn't put the thing in. I didn't have it ready to go. The 8-4. I did have this one ready to go.
Eagles!
Taking on the 8-4 Los Angeles Chargers. Eagles favored by 2.5 on the road in Los Angeles.
I got the Chargers in this one. Okay. I know Justin Herbert's going to be banged up. I know with his left hand after having surgery. They're playing better than the Eagles are. Chargers can run the football. Eagles have allowed 898 total yards over their past 2 games. They're second most allowed over a 2-game span with head coach Nick Sirianni. They're not playing good football. I think the Chargers are going to beat the Eagles.
Chargers cornerback Cam Hart will allow at least 5 receptions in coverage.
Sure. Late in the game when the Chargers are up.
And that's our NFL whip around for week 14.
Yeah, it is. When we come back, we'll take a look at a couple more things from the winter meetings preview that Jeff Passan and Buster Only talked about. Surprise teams that are going to make a lot of noise. We'll talk about that and what the international market looks like for teams coming up in the winter meetings when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan. This holiday season, too many San Diegans will go hungry. Join 97 through the fan and support San Diego Food Bank. Donate food directly online through our Odyssey San Diego Food Fund, where every donation helps feed local families. Go to 97throughthefantasy.com/food fund and give today. I got this debate going on with college football, my friends. I saw this thing. So Adam sent me this thing. We have a couple of minutes here. Adam sent me this thing about like a player in the SEC, Caleb Downs. He talks about like the perspective of playing in the Big Ten versus playing in the SEC because he's done both. And he plays at Ohio State. And he goes, in the SEC, you're playing dudes every week. You have to prepare your body, your mind every week. In the Big Ten, you're going to have 4 or 5 games maybe where you're going to have to play high-level competition. It's 100% true. The Big Ten's got like one elite team and everybody else. There's like a couple teams that are good, Indiana, Oregon. You have solid teams in USC, Michigan, and Iowa. That's it. You got 6 solid teams, maybe one elite team. And that one elite team of Ohio State, you don't even know if they're that good because of the schedule they play. He goes on to say, my buddy goes like, well, I wonder what they'd say about the Big 12. Yo, dude, the Big 12's at least got teams that are solid. Texas Tech is an elite team in the Big 12. We're about to find out. BYU is good. Utah's good. Arizona, Houston are good. And the bottom is not awful. You have Colorado and Oklahoma State, terrible. West Virginia, terrible. UCF, terrible. That's 4 teams. And then everybody else is a solid team. The Big Ten Conference is just top-heavy with just Ohio State and Oregon. And sometimes it's Indiana and sometimes it's Penn State. Just because you have more fans doesn't mean you have better teams. I agree with the SEC statement. The SEC's got they got good teams. They got really good teams. And they got solid teams that you got to deal with on the road. But like the Big Ten, just because the Big Ten has more fans doesn't make them a better conference than anybody else. They're propped up by about 3 schools, and then everybody else is just like, I mean, are you kidding me? I've watched UCLA play football this year. They are awful. Northwestern, Nebraska.
You have not.
We're talking
lived.
about Minnesota and Rutgers. We're talking about Wisconsin.
You have not lived until you have seen the turnout for a Minnesota-Purdue game.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Between the Golden Gophers and the Purdue's.
It is wild, okay? I don't need to hear any of that nonsense from you.
His bit of being the corporate
Georgia,
Big Ten guy.
Georgia, Tennessee can shove. It is when Minnesota plays Purdue, it is the biggest thing going on in the country.
You can't even say that with a straight face.
No.
You can't even do it. You can't even say that with a straight face. There are elite teams in the Big 12. Texas Tech spent $40 million on the roster. They're elite.
Allegedly.
Right. And here comes, you know what he's doing? He's doing the whole SEC hypothetical wins thing. Oh, Rutgers would finish in the top 3 in the Big 12. Give me a break, dog. Give me a break. All right, I wanted to get to a couple of things here with this last kind of winter meeting preview from Jeff Passan and Buster Olney. We've talked about it a lot today. They give some surprise teams to watch. This is a surprise. I don't think they're actually going to add payroll. I think they're going to threaten to add payroll, but I don't think they're going to actually add payroll. They said the Pirates, Marlins, A's, Orioles, and Angels are surprise teams to watch at the winter meetings. Do you think any of those teams add tons of money to their payroll?
What was the last team? Did you say the Orioles?
Orioles and the Angels. I could see the Orioles maybe doing it.
The Orioles already have. I mean, with some of the trades that they've made and
they've already added Ward and Helsley.
They've added payroll.
They're looking for a big piece, though. They're going to sign a big piece?
Oh, if you're looking at a
big piece
like
big piece
Schwarber,
or adding 25 to 30 million in payroll.
I could see them adding a bunch of little pieces to get to that 25 to 30 million. I don't see them adding a Schwarber.
I'll clarify it for you. They said the Pirates, Marlins, and A's are all expected to add 25 to 30 million in payroll. Then it says the Orioles.
I'm talking specifically about the Orioles.
I know. Well, I'm getting there.
Oh.
I'm explaining it to you. And the Orioles are already added Helsley and Ward and are now looking for a, quote, big piece, likely pitching. So Orioles signing a big piece, buy or sell. Pirates, Marlins, and A's expecting to add 25 to 30 million in payroll, buy or sell.
That's just a joke. They will those three will not add payroll unless they're forced to.
I think they're just going to do it in the eyes of public opinion, and they're going to go, look what we almost did.
Yeah, exactly.
We tried.
The Orioles, I could see that. I mean, they went out and got Sagano last year. I can see them going and getting one of the NPB or KBO pitchers. I could definitely see Baltimore doing that. I don't see them spending on a big name that's out there already.
Big piece likely pitching. So that to me is like Framber Valdez, Ranger Suarez. That's basically it.
I can see them.
Does Michael King count?
I would count Michael King in that, yes.
Depends on what his contract is.
I see them maybe not getting Imai, but I can see them getting one of the big name pitchers from the NPB or the KBO. I could definitely see that.
And speaking of the international market, well, what about it says the Angels are seeking more rotation help after acquiring Grayson Rodriguez and Alek Manoah. They're going to need more help than that. The Angels are an interesting case study.
That's help.
An organization that spends a ton of money and they just waste it all the time.
Hey, they're getting Rendon's contract off the books.
Calling all Angels.
I can't.
They play that every game.
They're
calling on the Angels to spend some money.
The whole song.
It's the whole song. It's like 3.5 minutes every game.
The whole freaking song.
And just remember, they don't use a city name. They just go, "Your Angels," because everybody in Anaheim hates that they're called LA. That's why the Ducks have done so well of like being Orange County's team.
Yes.
And having the OC on the patch and like we're Orange County's team. And the Angels, man. Names to look out for in the international market this week. Munetaka Murakami, huge power, big swing and miss concerns, defensive questions for him. And Tetsuya Imai, Japanese righty, who's linked to the Yankees, Mets, and Phillies, which is interesting that ESPN reported that when MLB.com reported the West Coast teams.
Bristol, Connecticut, all over the country. Bristol,
Yankees, Mets, Phillies,
all over the country.
West Coast. And MLB.com was like Seattle and San Francisco and the Padres. Interesting stuff, nonetheless.
It's funny.
It is funny. When we come back, we'll get you a quick preview of the championship weekend for college football, and we need a contestant for a midday sports standoff. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. If you could take me down in some sports trivia, you would be qualified for a shot at our grand prize. 2 tickets to New Kids on the Block in Las Vegas on June 26th, a 2-night stay at Park MGM, and a $100 gas card. Calling all blockheads. New Kids on the Block just announced 2026 dates for The Right Stuff Las Vegas residency at Dolby Live at Park MGM. Don't miss all your favorite hits live in Vegas with New Kids on the Block, February to October of 2026. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. We'll do that when we come back and get you a preview of the conference championship games on Saturday on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan. This hour 97 to the fans brought to you by IHOP. Introduce the IHOP value menu where all your breakfast faves are just $6 each every day. Where else can you get a big, filling, sit-down breakfast for only $6? Go to your happy plates with $6. The $6 IHOP value menu available every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Let's get a quick preview of the conference championship weekend, Frank. Let's dive into some of these games. Cue the music. Championship week may not have the same playoff stakes it used to, Frank, but you know what? Every title game this weekend has major storylines, a lot of big-time players, real chaos potential. We're going to tell you everything you need to know heading into each matchup. Perfect to set up a lot of your picks. Let's talk about let's start with some of the games that are played today.
Seems like a logical place to start.
Conference USA is today, isn't it not?
Yes, it's the first game to kick off.
First game to kick off is Conference USA. It will be, well, they kick off at the same time as the Sun Belt. Kennesaw State and Jacksonville State. This game will be played in Jacksonville, Alabama for the Conference USA Championship. Kennesaw State's favored by 2.5. The total's 58.5. Jacksonville State is the one team in this league whose run game never fluctuates. They ran for 252 yards on 42 carries in the first meeting, and none of it was random. Kennesaw State's tackling and rush defense remain bottom tier, and nothing about their profile suggests they can hold up. Line actually opened up Jacksonville State by -1.5. Kennesaw State's now moved the needle. I think a lot of people have moved it because of the Cinderella story that they have been, Frank. I know you're rooting for Kennesaw State in this game.
Yes, absolutely. I would love to see Kennesaw State take the win, especially just in their second year as a D1 program. It's a huge jump for them. I'd love to see it.
I think Jacksonville State wins this game, though. I think the line's a little bit off. I think the line is like a Cowboys game where all the Cowboys fans vote for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
But I like Jacksonville State in this game. They're very consistent. Physicality travels, even though they get to play at home. I'll take Jacksonville State in this one. 4:00 on CBS Sports Network.
Wait a second. We did our picks yesterday.
I know. I took that game.
I know. We all took all the games.
Yeah. I'm telling you what I picked.
Okay. I was just saying.
I picked Jacksonville State yesterday.
I was just saying we can't make different picks now.
No, I remember the picks I made. Jacksonville State bet plus 2.5 is huge. ESPN says take it. They also said take the Jacksonville State team total over 28.5. They're going to score at least 30 points. Sun Belt Championship, Frank.
Yes. We're going back and forth on this. Okay. Hold on. I got you. Sorry, I was working on trying to catch up. Sun Belt Championship is going to be between the Dukes of James Madison versus, why have I lost this game now? Where the heck is
James Madison and Troy?
It's James Madison and Troy. Right. I can't see it on the stupid thing. It's the American.
You don't have it on that one. It's on the
I lost it.
The best bet. James Madison's favored by 22.5 in this game. Already took James Madison. This is expected to be a one-sided game.
Yeah. I took Troy based off of the monster spread. I think James Madison will win this game, but I think Troy's gonna win.
Yeah, they're playing for style points too to try to get into the college football playoff. They got a top 10 rushing defense, top 20 in tackling. They got a good coverage unit. Troy's offense is 100% efficiency based. They're not very explosive. They're also 8-4 this year. I mean, James Madison ran away with the Sun Belt, and I would imagine that they're going to destroy Troy this afternoon in Harrisonburg, Virginia. I won't spend too much time on that. American Championship game tonight's at 5:00 on ABC. North Texas and Tulane. Game will be in New Orleans at Yulman Stadium, where the Tulane Green Wave play. North Texas is favored by 2.5 in this one.
Yes, North Texas favored by 2.5. This North Texas team total over is 34.5. This is a bet on the one unit that has been automatic, the North Texas offense, which leads the league in touchdowns, points per play, and yards per play. I believe that Tulane will be able to overcome how good that North Texas offense is. I think Tulane will be just fine. It's going to be close, but I'm going to take Tulane.
North Texas's offense, high-powered, touchdowns, points per play, yards per play. How about this? North Texas' quarterback and Tulane's quarterback moved on, and they're playing in other conference championship games. They still found a way to get back to the conference championship in the American.
There you go.
UNLV, Boise State. I picked the Broncos yesterday. I'm going to pick the Broncos again today. I think with what Boise State can do with Maddox Madsen being back is very difficult for UNLV to deal with. Vertical passing, they got explosive running backs. Boise State does. Yards after contact, really good for the offense for Boise State. Plus, UNLV's defensive metrics, Frank, are a disaster. 110th in run defense, 73rd in tackling, 64th in coverage. I know they went 10-2, but Boise State already beat UNLV once. I think they're going to do it again.
Yeah, but then UNLV, whenever they really had like a chance to play a good team like Hawaii, they fell apart. They were not good. They were a product of their schedule this year. That's why I took Boise State yesterday as well.
All right. That's today's games, right?
Yes.
Let's get to tomorrow's games. BYU, Texas Tech, I think is going to be a doozy in the Big 12. Yeah, I said doozy twice today. But I think it's going to be a great game. It's the first game tomorrow. I think Texas Tech's probably going to win very soundly, but I think it's going to be thrilling early. It's the only sellout for a championship game. Texas Tech and BYU, they sold out Jerry's World in Arlington. Texas Tech's really good. They dominated the first game 29-7, and they could have been up 28-0 early. Baron Morton must stay clean in order for Texas Tech to capitalize on opportunities, and they need to capitalize on red zone chances. Can't settle for field goals. They're favored by 12.5 tomorrow, as the line has moved a little bit. But they're really good, and like we heard from the athletic director of Penn State, Pat Kraft, $40 million roster right there for Texas Tech, number 4 in the country. I think they march on to a first-round bye in the college football playoff.
If I remember correctly, I believe I said Texas Tech was going to win the game, but I was taking BYU to cover. BYU is, I think, a little bit better than what they're being given credit for, and I know this is pretty much going to be a home game for Texas Tech, but I believe that I do believe Texas Tech is going to win the game. I think BYU is going to make it a little bit more challenging for them than many people believe. After that, we got some action, I believe.
Yeah, BYU. I mean, in terms of like BYU, for them to try to win tomorrow, they got to start off fast. They can't start off slow. And the thing is they believe, and they have to continue the belief. And the longer that lasts in these like kind of underdog games, the more pressure gets put on Texas Tech.
Yes.
BYU wins. That gets multiple teams in for the Big 12.
Absolutely.
Something to monitor tomorrow for the Big 12 conference.
Same time as that game, it'll be the MAC championship. It'll be the Miami of Ohio taking on Western Michigan. Western Michigan favored by 2.5. I'm expecting Ohio to win. I believe I'm expecting Ohio to win this game, right? I guess, did I say Ohio or Western Michigan? Yes. I honestly forget.
I don't remember.
I think I might have said Ohio. I know you took Ohio. Yes, I have it written down.
OHIO. Yeah, Miami of Ohio has been more consistent this year than Western Michigan, even though they're 7-5. I'm taking Ohio in that game. SEC championship game. Not only is Lane Kiffin going to be there for the college game day before, they're also going to have. Oh, now I'm blanking on his name. It's the guy that does Inside the NBA.
Memories are hard.
Inside the NBA.
Ernie Johnson.
Ernie Johnson will be there. He's a Georgia alum. I think Georgia is going to overcome Alabama and their first loss to Alabama. Georgia can't afford to have another bad start. They had a rough start against Alabama last time. Alabama converted their first 9 third downs in the September meeting. Georgia needs to put pressure on Ty Simpson, who has struggled with accuracy lately. Gunnar Stockton must have a better game. Must be better than he was versus Georgia Tech, and he will likely need to run more without his center, Drew Bobo. Alabama could win because, well, if they stop the run, they'll be able to do that. But they had a tough time last time. Georgia gassed them for 227 yards on the ground in the first meeting. Offense needs a clean game from Simpson because the running back room is depleted. Ryan Williams has disappeared lately. Bama needs to get him back in a big way. If you're Alabama, you win, you're in. If you're Georgia, you're already in, but Kirby Smart really likes the SEC championship game. Plus, it's a home game for Georgia.
Yeah, being in Atlanta, I
take Georgia.
Yeah, I'm taking Georgia in this game too. It's hard to win a game twice. It's really really hard. Big Ten, my Big Ten, Big Ten championship. One team is going to be undefeated. The other team is going to get their first loss of the year. Number 2, Indiana versus number 1, Ohio State. Ohio State favored by 5.5. Indiana's good. I give them a lot more credit this year than I did last year because it felt like last year was just a fluke. But Indiana really has turned this program around, and I think if they really want to be considered as a mainstay on the national stage, beating Ohio State in this championship game is where to do it. So I'm taking Ohio State, but this is a really big opportunity for Indiana to prove that this is not just a 2-year run.
Indiana, I'm going to see something out of Indiana in this game. I mean, we know that Indiana can beat a bunch of bad teams. And you know what? They beat Oregon.
Yeah.
They beat Oregon on the road, which is like the first loss that Dan Lanning's had at home, I think, since being the head coach. I just feel like Indiana still needs that big game to win. I mean, they got trounced by Ohio State last year.
Mm-hmm.
If they go out there and get trounced by Ohio State again this year, it's hard to be like, all right, well, he wins, and like, you just can't beat Ohio State. Ohio State seems to be that team, but at the same time, this Ohio State team is good. They're not as good as they were last year, and they haven't really been tested yet. And if you look at their schedule, they haven't been that tested. So maybe this will be the tester. But I think Ohio State's going to win against Indiana pretty soundly. I don't think it's going to be that close, but maybe it will be. I hope it is. I hope it is for Indiana's sake. I think Indiana needs to make this game close for them to be considered an elite college football team. They're really good, but I don't think they're at the elite level yet.
The ACC championship game kicks off at the same time as the Big Ten championship game. Duke versus Virginia. I think Virginia's going to win.
Virginia is going to win.
I want Duke to win this game so bad. I am rooting so hard for Duke.
Duke's got a better quarterback. Virginia's got better linemen. Linemen usually way out. I mean, the last time these two teams played, Virginia just pushed Duke around. They held them to 42 rushing yards, and they sacked Darian Mensah 4 times. Duke needs balance. They've only won once all year without hitting 100 yards rushing, and if they can't move the ball on the ground against Virginia, it's going to be a blowout. Mensah with 3,450 yards, 28 touchdowns, 4 picks. Elite quarterback when pressured, 6 touchdowns and only 1 pick. They need him to have a huge game. Virginia's already showed the formula to beat Duke. Dominate the trenches, run for 224 yards like they did, and attack Duke's beat-up secondary. Chandler Morris threw for 316 in the first meeting, but must avoid the turnovers that kept Duke alive. As somebody that's watched Chandler Morris quarterback their team, when he was at TCU, he's been at like 4 different schools. If he turns the ball over a couple of times, Duke's going to have a chance. Duke's got to be able to establish the run, though.
Yes.
If Duke can't move the ball on the ground, and you're going to see very early on if they can or not, Virginia's going to run away with it. But based on what the ACC's been playing, I could see Duke just knocking the ACC out of the playoff completely. And then you would have James Madison and North Texas potentially in the college football playoff.
It would be so much fun.
Jake Waters brings up a good point. Whose home game is it in the Big Ten championship game? Ohio State sells out buildings, and they're not far away from Indiana. Or should I say Indianapolis, which is obviously in the home state of Indiana. Who do you think has more of a crowd on Saturday? I think it's Ohio State.
They usually try to split those games.
Well, that
50-50. I know it doesn't always work out that way, but that's usually
they both get the same allotment of tickets, but then there's a bunch that are open to the public. And Ohio State usually buys them.
Yeah, I would say Ohio State.
Unless Ohio State fans are like, well, I'm only going to be able to travel to a couple of these things, and we know the playoffs coming.
Yeah, that or Indiana really shows out because it's their first time in a long time to be able to go after a Big Ten championship, a conference championship. That's the other side of it too. I can very easily see Indiana's crowd showing out. Whoops.
Welcome to Midday Sports Stand.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that.
We're not?
No, we're not doing
No, we're not doing that. When we come back, it's the biggest fan. At 1:15, we're giving away tickets to Zach Bryan. And when we come back, we got some problems more with college football. We also got some other things we want to talk about. We'll talk to Padres baseball as we reset at 1 o'clock. Drake Hills will join us at 1:35. San Diego's number 1 sports station, 97 to the Fan. August of 97, the fan. Join us on the David P. Shapiro fan hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys helping good people regain control of their future when charged with the crime. Since 2010, visit davidpshapirolaw.com. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Welcome back to the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. It is time for our biggest fan. Aha. Time for the biggest fan. Congratulations to today's biggest fan, Lisa Healy in El Cajon. Lisa Healy in El Cajon. Give us a call within the next 10 minutes at 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973, and you'll qualify for our grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a Padres game with all of the fan staff later this season, catered by Spiro's Mediterranean Cuisine. Remember to register your name at 97throughthefansd.com/biggest fan. Lisa Healy in El Cajon. Give us a call in the next 10 minutes at 833-288-0973, and you'll qualify for our grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a Padres game with all of the fan staff later this season. There you go. That is not James in Oceanside, and that was not Brenton in Tucson. No, it was not.
I don't think it can be Brenton in Tucson, can it?
Well, Brenton doesn't actually live in Tucson.
Well, no,
I'm making a joke. It can't be Brenton in Tucson, technically. I'm still in the heated debate with the Big 10 versus the Big 12 issue. And as I mentioned before, how about this? You factor out Ohio State, and guess what? That's basically most of the eliteness of that conference. The claim is like, this is a hypothetical SEC matchup. Wins again, Frank. It's like, about 7 to 8 schools in the Big 10 can win the Big 12. Oh, yeah, because we don't have Ohio State you have to worry about. It's the reason why they can't win their own conference. Everybody knows it's going to be Ohio State winning the conference all the time. You take Ohio State out, it's like 7 schools in the Big 12 that can win that conference. These conferences have more parity than you think. It's a lot more parity in college football than you originally think. And it's funny. It's like the question comes about, like, has money saved college football or they completely ruined it? Well, they had a big article on this on ESPN about how college football has entered this new chaotic money-driven era and the sport's traditional hierarchy is starting to kind of collapse. The once laughable programs, Vanderbilt, Indiana, Virginia, are suddenly winning big and fighting for conference titles and even pushing for college football playoff opportunities. NIL, revenue sharing, transfer portal have all blown up the old rules. Programs that were once buried under geography, history, and budget disadvantages have suddenly been given a window to compete. If they're willing to spend millions and change their entire mindset, Vanderbilt went from we can't win here to $6 million overnight. In 2022, head coach Clark Lay boldly said Vanderbilt would be, quote, the best program in the country, drawing laughter across the SEC. By late 2023, even he admitted the dream was collapsing. Vandy couldn't retain talent, couldn't compete with the SEC depth, and couldn't develop players fast enough. So he issued an ultimatum to his athletic director and said, if we don't find $3 million by winter of 2024, we aren't going to have a program. Within a week, she delivered $6 million, and Vanderbilt shifted from what was a developmental model to an NIL-driven, portal-heavy strategy, and it worked. They finished 10-2. They landed 5-star quarterback Jared Curtis, who flipped from Georgia, and proved that even the smallest SEC program can now shop in the premium aisle. Indiana, they're the biggest shock in college football the last 2 years. Their AD, Scott Dolson, embraced NIL early, bet big on the portal, and hired Kurt Cignetti, who completely rebuilt the roster, including bringing in multiple James Madison stars with them. The result, Indiana ranked number 2 in the country, playing for a Big Ten championship game, first chance at a conference title since 1967. And a former Big Ten coach summed up the shock, quote, you should never win at Indiana. Yet the Hoosiers are 1 win from the playoff. They're in the playoff anyway. They don't even need a win. How about Virginia and the story Virginia's been? Virginia is 1 win away for the college football playoff. Culture, new facilities, money, and a rebirth. Their head coach, Tony Elliott, inherited the worst facilities in the Power 5, no money, and a losing culture. It got rebuilt quietly. New building, donor alignment, belief inside the locker room, and eventually in 2025, a real NIL budget. He added size, defense, landed a veteran quarterback, Chandler Morris, whose arrival set the tone for a culture shift. And the turning point for them was a double overtime upset over top 10 Florida State. A moment that announced Virginia has made them a legitimate contender. The cost of parity, big brands are losing their margins. Middle-tier teams rise, someone has to fall. Wisconsin fell from Big Ten power to 4-8. Florida State from 13-0 to 2-10 due to portal losses. Penn State and Clemson, top 5 preseason, drop to both 3 and 5 by November. Group of 5 has been decimated and now a feeder system for the Power 4. That is kind of a downside. As Nick Saban has put it before, good players expect to play. If they don't, they leave. Even the elite schools can't hoard depth anymore. Is this real parity or a temporary bubble? Schools like Vanderbilt, Indiana, Texas Tech all had coaches linked to major openings and all stayed. A complete shift from the James Franklin era. Why? Because they now believe they can win win big where they're at. Long-term question remains, can these programs keep spending? Will donors stay engaged? Will the culture survive fast roster turnover? The new system has created more hope than ever before, but also more volatility. Big winners, programs bold enough to adapt. Big losers, programs clinging to old rules. This puts up my entire conversation about the parity in college football that anybody can win the Big 12. Aside from Ohio State that has just been dominant in their spending, anybody can really win the Big 10. Anybody can win the SEC. Anybody can win the ACC. I mean, you're going to start to see a lot of the traditional blue bloods really come back down to earth in college football. Frank, we talk all the time about NIL and what it's bad. Mm-hmm. This is all the instances of NIL being good for college athletics. I think you've never seen more parity in college football than you see right now. There's not like the 2-3 dominant teams anymore. And I like to point out, everybody goes, there's not 24 teams that could win the national title. Just like they said, there's not 12 teams that can win the national title. Frank, there's 12 teams right now that could potentially win the national championship.
Yeah, there absolutely are. And this is also a sign of who is willing to change and who can see the future over who is going to cling to the past. Because a lot of that you brought up was Indiana getting out ahead of NIL, Vanderbilt getting out ahead of it, Virginia getting out ahead of it, and it's worked for them. So what you're seeing right now, as far as the resurgence of those teams, is they were the ones that believed in it early, and they're going to be one of the first, and they're going to be the first schools to reap the benefits from it. That is what you're seeing with these programs. And now that it's a model that is proving successful, you're going to see a lot more teams do it, but they're not going to get the recognition that a Vanderbilt, an Indiana, a Virginia will get because they were one of the first to do it, and they were the first ones to have success with it.
This is the thing with college football. I mean, I think, and you're going to get more of this. Here's the other thing too. Like, kids understand they want to go to a place that they can play, and they want to go to a place that can play in big games and get paid. And there's a lot of schools now that are paying money that now they could go, as Ed Ogeron said on Bennett Woods this morning, and go through the front door now instead of having to make the money deals in the back door. Said he was kidding.
Allegedly.
And so now these programs can do that. And on top of that, they give kids an opportunity to play in a high level. And when you're competing and all of a sudden you expand the playoff to 12 teams, these kids know that they have a shot and they don't have to go to the 4 schools that have dominated and were paying money under the table. Now everybody's paying money. Now all of a sudden the playing field is more level, and see what happens. You get teams like Virginia potentially in the college football playoff. You got Texas Tech that's going to get a first round bye in the college football playoff. You got Indiana in the college football playoff. These are schools that like 5, 6, 7 years ago you would never assume would ever even have a chance to make the college football playoff. Now they're getting good athletes. You expand it to 24 teams, and guess what? There's going to be more parity in college football. Mm-hmm. Because these kids are going to be like, oh, I guess I could go to San Diego State now. They have a path. They spend money. They have a path. I could go to some of these other schools, and there's not just one dominant team anymore. There's still some remnants of the old system in play with teams like Ohio State at the top and spending a lot of money, and the Texases of the world and everything like that, and Georgia and Alabama. But they're falling more and more closer to the pack with all of these changes. Parity is great for college football because now more entities are paying attention. Parity is not good for the elite at the top that have made all of the money off of college football. And so all the mouthpieces of college athletics on ESPN, they want everything to be like it's always been because they've always made the money, and they don't want to share the money, just like it is in every walk of life. The people in charge of the money, the people that are making all the money, don't like sharing the money. That's why the Big Ten and the SEC puff their chest out and talk about how great they are when we all know it's smoke and mirrors. There's about 1 or 2 elite teams per conference in the SEC and the Big Ten, and everybody else is just kind of there. But they think that they're the best. We have the most people that watch. Well, you have the biggest fan bases. And they don't want anything to change, and they like the way things are. But this is why you fight for some of this stuff in college athletics. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we go to break, we're giving away tickets to the Zach Bryan concert at Snapdragon Stadium July 31st. Tickets are on sale at Ticketmaster.com. Be the first one to call in and tell us the name of the song that I mentioned yesterday by Zach Bryan. Not American Nights that came on, but the other song that we have as a rejoiner. If you could tell me what the name of that song is, and you'd be the first one to do it during the break, you will win tickets to Zach Bryan on July 31st.
Again, want to make it clear, not American Nights, the other one.
It's the other one. And we talked about it yesterday, if you're paying attention. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. If you listen to the show a lot on the radio, you'll have a pretty good advantage of this because you've probably heard the song once or twice. We'll give away those tickets as we go to break on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan. Congratulations to Ron and Santee, who correctly answered our trivia question and won the tickets to see Zach Bryan. If She Wants a Cowboy was the name of the other song that we play sometimes. That was Hardy, that you just heard. We're going to get to the World Cup situation. They just had their draw today. USA is in Group D with Paraguay and Australia. And they also have the UEFA Group C play-in paths that need to be determined as well. Those will all happen in March. And we'll talk about that with Drake Hills when we come back on the Braden Surprenant show. But I do want to mention some of the stuff. I mean, I had some people ask, I got a game tonight with Cathedral. We're playing at, and they already left. They're about to leave in about 10 minutes on the bus. I'm driving myself. Here's the situation. It's me, it's my friend, and my mom. We're going to leave at 2:30. We got to get up to Long Beach City College. Now, the drive itself is the easy part with my mom and my friend. Now, the hard part, and now maybe she's listening. She listens a lot. I'm not worried about my friend being at my house at 2:30 ready to leave. I am worried about my mom. She's late to a lot of stuff. She has her nickname's Dizzle. I call her Dizzle. She kind of anointed her that name. Like, so at the gym, there's these things that are like kind of heart monitors, and they track like your effort and stuff like that at the gym and like burning calories and all that stuff when you work out.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what they're called, but everybody's got like a little name for it. My dad's just did his own name because he's boring. My mom put Don Dizzle on there. And so we all call her Dizzle, which is great. So we were planning last night about going up to Long Beach. I wasn't going to make the bus in time. I already knew that. My dad's going to take the bus. So I was going to drive myself. And I said, well, I could give you guys a ride. Why have multiple cars up in Long Beach for no reason? Plus, if they go with me, I know they're not going to be late to the game. And it's probably going to take us 2.5 hours to get up there with traffic already. I already looked at it. And my dad said in our little meeting for this, you're putting yourself at risk being on Dizzle time. And I was like, you know what? I am a little bit. Co-Aztecs calling up mom on the show, foul. You know what? Sometimes mom's got to get called out. You're putting yourself on Dizzle time, which is very true. But here's the deal.
This is why,
as a special teams coordinator, you kind of have to be there on time or early because there's something called early outs, which is usually all the special teams guys. I would like to be up there before 5 o'clock. I've already ordered Jersey Mike's for lunch. That's getting dropped off at my house. My friend's going to pick it up. I'm going to go home. I'm going to eat. I'm going to have my other stuff ready to go. And then I am hitting the road at 2:30 with or without my mom. Now, you brought this up off air before. This has a Ron White stand-up written all over it, Frank.
I'm going to be at this show. I've been dying to go to this show. And I'm going to be at the airport, wheels up at 7 o'clock, whether you're there or not. 7 o'clock shows up. Is she there? No. Do I leave?
No.
No, of course I don't.
Of course not. That's the dilemma I'm going to be in.
7:30 rolls around. Is she there? No. Do I leave? No. That's why I found out. You tell them a time like a half hour early. Now it's kind of hard for you.
She's getting wise to that. She's getting wise to that. Our family tries to do it for like airport trips. But here's the problem.
You got to say earlier.
She used to be a flight attendant back in the day, so she knows all the airport stuff. So she knows if she finds out what time our flight is, she's like, oh, we have plenty of time. I'm somewhere in the middle. There's two people in this world. And then I'm in the middle. There's the people that get to the airport 3 days before their flight starts. Before their flight takes off. That's like our friend Perez. Frank.
Mm-hmm.
He gets to the airport like 3 days prior to his flight leaving. That's how early he gets there. And he posts up at the bar and all that. No, that is way too flippin' early.
There are some airports where it's a necessity. That here, I wouldn't say. Depending upon what time here, I wouldn't say so.
I'm trying to get through security about an hour and a half before.
Yeah,
I don't need a lot of time at the airport.
Like
I'm
if you're
not. I
going-
don't need the alcohol. I don't need the beer at the airport. You know what? If I'm going on a vacation, and it's like the right before the vacation, it's like after it's happy hour time. Sure, have a cocktail. But like, I got friends that get to the airport early on the early morning, and they're already like, "Oh, morning airport beer, let's go." No, thank you.
morning airport beer.
That hits apparently.
Bro.
I can't do it unless it's a vacation trip. Like if I'm going to the airport for any other reason, work related, whatever, probably not having an airport beer at 7 a.m. Will I have an airport beer if I'm sitting there waiting for our flight next Wednesday? Hey, maybe. Flight's at 7. All right. So, could work out. But again, so there's those people like Perez that is there 4 days before you take off. He just lives at the airport for 3 days. And then there's people like my mom who get to the airport and they're getting through security as they're boarding the first group.
I can't do that.
I can't. No.
I can't do that.
No. It works out for her. She always gets on her flight. But you know what? I'm not going to do it.
You know what that's called?
Why add the stress?
That is called the luck of fools, is what that's called.
Why add the stress?
That is the luck of fools.
Why add the stress? You know what? Here's the other thing. Again, this is what backfires for us is the fact that she does things that she knows the inner workings of the airport for working as a flight attendant. And they're boarding groups and I'm ready to and I don't want to sit. I'm not going to be a psycho that stands up when I'm like 5 groups away, like sitting there in the front of the line. Like, relax, dude. She'll go to the bathroom as they start boarding multiple groups. All right, I need to go to the bathroom one more time. I'm sorry. We're boarding now.
And you realize the bathroom's on the other side of the terminal. Like, is that your mom yelling at
No,
you?
it's
okay.
it's our friend Jake from CBS.
From State Farm.
Him and his wife got to the airport 22 minutes before they boarded the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Oh
my God. Jake, are you one of those people?
Oh, I would have lost
Stress
it.
level too high. Too high.
I'm usually a guy who likes to be like at Kennedy. You have to be at the airport like 3 hours before because you never know what you're going to get with Kennedy. I would assume LAX is the same. I would assume like Chicago O'Hare. I would assume Chicago O'Hare, Boston Logan, Hartfield, Atlanta. That's the same way.
Cole Brooks in the chat. Nothing like a beer at 6 a.m. before getting on a metal death trap that floats. You know what? You know what? Sometimes you got to take the edge off. Sometimes you got to take the edge off.
Got to take the edge off of getting on the metal death tube.
Oh my God! But I tell you what, this is like my airport thing
for San Diego. An hour and a half is cool. Like I'm trying to meet up with somebody before the flight. The latest that they're available is 4:30.
You got to backtrack from the time you want to physically be at the airport,
Yeah,
right?
Our
flight's at 7:07 on Wednesday.
I would feel comfortable getting to the airport no later than 6. Like I would feel comfortable with that. Wednesday night in the middle of Wednesday night, it's after evening rush. I would feel comfortable with 6 o'clock being like the absolute latest. But if we're meeting up downtown. Like I'm not going to come here. I'm not going to come to a place here and then have to worry about booking it to downtown to get to the airport. No, we're going to like Mona Lisa's or something. Like that's the plan.
That's always a staple. When you land in San Diego and you leave, you had a Mona Lisa sub on the way out. Jake Waters, he flew out of San Diego 29 times in 2025. He travels a lot for work. He never got to the airport more than 50 minutes before flight departing. True.
Yeah.
San Diego's different. I breeze through security at San Diego's airport. I don't like to
y'all
make
haven't
it that
lived
close.
No.
By the way, Jake texted me back. He said he still had time to grab that beer for 22 minutes for the flight.
Y'all haven't lived. No. We want to live. That is why we do things the way we do things. We want to live.
There's or what I was going to say about the airport thing. You have to backtrack. Like for me, like it was San Diego part I got down just because I've flown out of here so many times. But our flight's at 7:07.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, all right, well, what time do I want to get through security? I'd probably want to be there like out of security around 6:07.
Yeah,
because
that's usually...
you board 30 minutes before the plane takes off. And to me, 30 minutes before boarding is plenty of time for me to get a water, get a snack. If I want a airport cocktail, it gives me enough time to get one of those and get on a plane and drink it before I have to get on a plane. It's plenty of time.
90 minutes is rational. That is absolutely rational.
Agree.
To want to be there at like 5:30, that was my plan. But there are some airports that you can't do that. There are some airports, like I said, like the big airports like Kennedy, where you have to be there like 3 hours before. But smaller airports, even though this is an international airport, smaller airports, you can afford to get away with it a lot quicker.
Security is pretty easy at that deal. But again, like the timing is the biggest part of this conversation. And we'll find out next Wednesday.
I have a feeling I'm probably going to get a text like, it is 3:45. Mom is barely ready. We're just hitting the road now.
Oh, today?
Help me, keep me from losing my mind.
I'm telling you, dude, I'm leaving at 2:30. I liked Aztecs chat. Braden driving down the street with a friend saying, "Is that your mom in the rearview mirror?" She had a chance. Missed it.
By that much.
I'm just telling you, like it's funny, like the airport trips. But here's the thing, like, so have you ever flown with both of those people? The super early person and the person that wants to walk on the plane right at the time?
No, because I'm not in the privileged position where I get to fly all the time. So no, we've usually been... We're usually, like I said, the 3 hour group. That was when I was flying with my parents, 3 hours. I was fine with that. So when I would fly with myself, that would usually be it.
So I've done trips with, like, I've talked about this before, but we went to New York for the Padres Yankees series.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love doing sports trips. Perez likes doing sports trips. So we all went. And like it started with Perez and I were going to do it. And then all of a sudden, my family wanted to go and we like having fun as a group. I'm blessed to have a family like that. And we were a very tight-knit group. And so like we took the trip together and Perez was like, he texted me in the morning, like, I hear at the airport. I'm like, bro, I'm still in bed. What? They're super early. But I'll tell you right now, him dealing with Dizzle time, stressed. I know how to handle it. I've done with it enough. It stresses me out enough. But for somebody that's not used to traveling like that, oh my God, stress level probably very high.
Yeah, no, that's also one of those things. Like if you want to be there, if our flight's at 7:00 at night and you want to be there at 9:00 in the morning, have fun, go. But I'm going to go at my time. I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm not going to sit there all day because you want to go.
So what we're leaving for, we got high school football this weekend. We're on TV tonight. You going to watch the game?
Yes, I will try to.
Yeah, we're on Spectrum Sportsnet at 7:30. So you can watch the game on TV tonight. That's like $6.90 something on DirecTV. I can't remember at the top of my head. But we play Los Alamitos tonight, 7:30, Veterans Stadium at Long Beach City College. San Diego Open Division champion, fresh off a dramatic comeback against Carlsbad. Brady Palmer, quarterback for us tonight, over 2,000 yards passing, 18 touchdowns, just committed to Minnesota. Honor Falave Johnson, 1,613 total yards, 19 touchdowns, plus one of our top defenders on defense as well. Isaac Cook has had a great year. Again, I don't know how many offers Isaac has. I don't know why he doesn't have an offer from multiple schools already. If you look at Brady Palmer's highlight reel that Minnesota posted when he signed, it's an Isaac Cook also highlight reel. Isaac Cook needs to be recruited. Somebody give him a scholarship who doesn't already. I think he'd be great at San Diego State. I'm going to tell you right there. He's got 42 catches for 1,029 yards and 9 touchdowns. Logan Jones, also mentioned in the John Matthew preview article. Los Alamitos is good. They're 12-2. They run a no huddle, fast break offense led by Colin Creason. They got 2 running backs that are really good. Camden Tillis, as well as Lenny Ibarra. Lenny Ibarra is really good. He's one of the best rugby players in the country. He's going to Army. which is super cool. I can't remember if he's going to Army for rugby or if he's going to Army for football. But he's a fun running back to watch. He's a number 28 for Los Al. He had a 65-yard punt return last week against San Clemente. Should be a really good one tonight at 7:30. Again, we're on Spectrum Sportsnet if you want to watch on television tonight. Got nothing else going on. And you're decorating for Christmas in the house. Throw the Dons on. Throw the Dons on. Let's get to the other games. Division 5 AA, Christian at Valley Center will be tonight at 7:30. Christian has been the biggest late season surprise. 5 straight wins after starting the season 2-7. Caleb Runkle playing at elite level, 2,625 passing yards, 26 total touchdowns. He's got Kai Rozier, who's got 1,000 receiving yards. He's got Hank Houston, who's got 43 catches. He's got Julian Moronis, who's a top rusher. Defensively, Chase Torgensen, 90 tackles. Everett Randall's got 82. They carry the load defensively for the Patriots. They face a Valley Christian team who's 11-3 with quarterback Graham Lunzer, who's got 2,065 passing yards, 23 touchdowns, and a wide receiver in Oliver Boateng, who has over 1,000 yards receiving. Christian will be at Valley Christian in the Cerritos area tonight at 7:30. The other game tonight will be the 6 AA division. Valley View, who's 9-5, is traveling to Valley Center. Valley Center is the only home team for San Diego tonight. Valley Center started the season 1-5 with a forfeit to Carlsbad. They're now the Division 4 champs and rolling. Braylon Mitchell up to 2,700 passing yards and 29 touchdowns. Receiver Jesse Morales has 80 catches for 1,240 and 14 scores. Josiah Ryan Torado has 1,234 yards on the ground and 14 touchdowns, as well as 38 tackles on defense. A true two-way star. Defensively, Mitchell Staley, Brandon Ravelis, and Max Staley lead the charge for the Jags. Valley View counters with a dual threat quarterback in Jesse Vega. He's got more than 1,500 passing yards and 1,200 rushing yards and 35 total touchdowns. Should be a good one at Valley Center. Battle of some valleys. Valley View at Valley Center in Division 6 AA. Again, San Diego's only got 6 teams left in the playoffs right now, all trying to clinch a spot in the state championship game. Division 1A will be tomorrow at Granite Hills High School. Granite's hosting tomorrow, Saturday at 7 o'clock. This game will also be on Spectrum Sportsnet tomorrow. Pacifica, 14-0, taking on Granite Hills, who's 10-3. 4th straight section title for the Granite Hills Eagles after they defeated Lincoln last week, and they get a 14-0 Pacifica team who has hung 578 points on the board this season. They got a quarterback in Taylor Lee, who's got 3,500 passing yards and 49 touchdowns. Anthony Jacobs, who's got 1,100 receiving yards. Elijah Royster, who's got 802 receiving yards and 12 touchdowns. But Granite Hills has the same counter. These are two very similar teams. Zach Benitez, 3,600 passing yards and 39 touchdowns. Noah Walker, one of the best receivers in the county, 1,231 yards and 15 touchdowns. Zidane Smith and Tristan Diaz both have over 550 yards receiving. They got a lot of weapons throughout the offense. Davion Williams is out for Granite Hills. Expect Gage Spalding and Anthony Matar and Seth Rodriguez to step up big time from the running attack. Defensively, Braylon Wells, Caden Phillips, Hunter Hamilton, headlining unit with 67 tackles for loss, 25 sacks, and 16 interceptions. Biggest X factor is Parker Johnson for Granite Hills. Rio Hondo Prep will take on Santa Fe Christian at Carlsbad High School tomorrow at 6 o'clock, a battle of unbeatens. Rio Hondo Prep's really good. Rio Hondo Prep has 80 boys at their school. That's it. And about 25 to 40 of them play on the football team. About half of the boys that go to this school are on the football team, and they're 14-0. Santa Fe Christian's going to have their hands full tomorrow with Rio Hondo Prep. That's going to be a good game at Carlsbad High School at 6 o'clock. Last game for you, Morse will play Simi Valley Grace. That will be at Moore Park College at Saturday at 6 o'clock. Morse comes in with 4 straight wins in a section championship. Superior Guerra is their everything. 2,700 yards of offense, 95 tackles, 6 picks. That should be a good one tomorrow. We will let you know how the 6 schools do on Monday, as hopefully we got multiple in the state championship game. When we come back, we'll get our final recap of San Diego FC with Drake Hills and preview what happened in the draws with the World Cup seedings today. We'll talk about that to finish up the show. The Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. Final segment of the Braden Surprenant Show this week. I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in each and every day. We really appreciate that. As we get you through the winter months here. Next week's going to be fun because we got the winter meetings going on next week. We're going to have a lot to talk about. I thought we had a lot to talk about today.
We got the winter meetings going on, and we'll be in Baltimore for the second half of the week. So once the winter meetings are over, we'll be in Baltimore.
We'll be getting some winter meeting news and stuff as we're flying to Baltimore. Probably that Thursday show in Baltimore will be kind of like that.
Yes.
But we wanted to talk about the we couldn't get a hold of Drake, so hopefully everything's okay. We'll try to get him on next week, maybe to talk about the aftermath of San Diego FC, and with the MLS Cup Finals going on. That's on Saturday, correct? Tomorrow, the MLS Cup Final.
Yes.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
But a good season for San Diego FC nonetheless. We talked about that a little bit more on Monday. Today was the World Cup group draws. And we saw it was a spectacle today on television. Took them like 40 minutes to finally start doing it. They brought in all these United States celebrities, and Kevin Hart was there, and Tom Brady was there, and Shaq, and Wayne Gretzky, Aaron Judge. Those like the best athletes we have to offer. Is that what we're doing? I love Shaq's funny though. I like Shaq. They did like a couple of concerts, a couple of music acts and stuff. They made this like huge ordeal. But what you need to know is all of the groups have been seeded out so far. And just kind of quick look before we really dive into it, Frank. Team USA's got a pretty good draw in Group D. To get things started, there should be no reason why USA does not make it to the knockout stage.
Yeah, no, they do have a very friendly draw. It's US, Paraguay, Australia, and then they have the winner from UEFA Qualifier 3. UEFA Playoff 3. Oh, Drake's actually on.
Drake's
right
here
now. Yep.
So let's bring on Drake. Drake, what's going on? Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. We got to start to explain a little bit of the draw that happened today and seating everybody. But good to have you on. We're worried there for a second.
Yeah, I know. It's that time of the year. You know, I've got soccer, I've got grading, I've got broadcast prep. Man, it's a serious deal. I didn't forget about you guys.
Of course not. Oh, plus you got to worry. You got to see where Oregon's going to get seated in the college football playoff. Drake. I mean, there's a lot of that going on this weekend.
Yeah, for the first time, I think all year, I'm going to be watching the American Conference Championship.
We're talking with Drake Hills. He jumps on our show each and every Friday, contributing writer for Black Players for Change, and does a lot of international writing for ESPN.com when it comes to soccer as well. We're going to talk about the American C, or where they're at in Group D and everything like that in a second. Just real quick, since we don't have too much time, Drake, the recap for you, season recap of San Diego FC and how far they came and what happened on Saturday last week.
Yeah, I'm just going to start with the game, go quick, and then kind of zoom out here. But obviously Vancouver, and despite San Diego FC having their number, I'd argue, especially going to Vancouver earlier this year, had an incredible win. Obviously, Milan Miloski is no longer with San Diego FC, but that was probably top 3 highlights of the entire year for San Diego FC. And for Vancouver to flip that, I think you have to credit a lot with Thomas Muller. You have to credit Jaden Nelson. You have to credit, I think, in terms of the World Cup, Sebastian Berhalter is, I think, top 2 in terms of Mauricio Pochettino's favorite players going into the 2026 World Cup year for the U.S. men's national team. That just happens to be the team that's the hottest right now. I know everyone's talking about Miami, but Vancouver just went in and earned it straight up and down.
Let's talk about the draw today. The first thing you obviously want to talk about, let's talk about Team USA. They got a pretty solid draw in Group D, a very winnable draw, or at least a very advanceable draw in Group D. They're going to be with Paraguay, Australia, and then the UEFA Path C winner, which has a handful of countries, Turkey, Slovakia, Kosovo, and Romania. The winner of that playoff will be added to this group. They will play their first match on June 12th at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. USA will against Paraguay. But as you look at this group, very winnable group for Team USA.
Yeah, I mean, starts off with the first game. You're going to go June 12th at SoFi in Los Angeles against Paraguay. That is, I'm not sitting here looking over Paraguay at all. Don't get me wrong. But that is an incredible jump starter to kind of get you going, kind of put you into that World Cup intensity. But I think the reality is that if you get 3 points over Paraguay, you're familiar with Australia. You played a friendly against them just in this last couple of months. So you're familiar with them, and then obviously you're going to wait until the end of March. Slovakia versus Kosovo, and the winner of that plays Turkey versus Romania. I like Turkey to come out of that, but Slovakia is no slouch either. So I think those are one of the two teams that will go through that playoff C path. And it's going to be interesting, Braden, because you're looking at some of these other groups. I mean, Canada has a really favorable group as well. June 12th, starting in Toronto, they're going to take a look at either Wales, Bosnia and Herzegovina, or Italy or Northern Ireland. But I think Mexico is a little bit different. I mean, that's a group that I'm excited about. Just, what is that, 15, 16 years ago, or somewhere around there, if my math is correct. The 2010 World Cup in Johannesburg, South Africa hosts Mexico in the first game. Now it's flipped, a few World Cup cycles later. So I'm excited about that one on June 11th in Mexico City at the Estadio Azteca. But I got to say, Braden, the group that I'm really looking at is Group L. I'm going to call that the group of love. England, Croatia, Ghana, and Panama, who obviously San Diego fans will know about Anibal Godoy, who is their captain and the most capped player for the Panamanian national team. So that's the group that I'm going to be looking at. Every single game that's going to be played, I'm going to be watching.
Is that your, you said group of love. I was going to ask you a follow-up. Everybody, there's always a group of death. What's the group of death out there in the group?
I honestly don't think we have one. Like, it could be argued that you could say, sure, you can call that the group of death, if you will. But if you love the game of football, there's more love than death. There's more life than death than that one. I mean, I think maybe Group I with France. I mean, Senegal's obviously had that team they're not as, in my opinion, not as fearful as I saw them in the last couple of World Cups. So France, Senegal, then you've got a playoff team that's going to get in there alongside Norway. So people don't really think about Norway as like a top team, but there's a guy named Erling Haaland who is really, really good at soccer and very athletic and scores a lot of goals and plays for Manchester City and has done really well there. So I think that's probably going to be my pick for a group of death, is Group I. Group
I, says Drake. Well, we got a couple of Italian fans in this room between Frank and I. Can they make it through their playoff path? How difficult is it going to be for them? They got to deal with Wales, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Northern Ireland. How do you see that one playing out for Group B? I know you mentioned it earlier for Team Canada, but from the Italian perspective, how do you think the UEFA playoff path A will result in?
Yeah, I think that obviously that first game against Northern Ireland in the semifinal, all these European path games are going to be taking place on the 31st of March. But just taking a look at Italy over the course of the last, say, 6 months, I mean, they haven't really, I think a lot of the damage that they took was in the Nations League, kind of the beginning of this year, end of last year, just having a couple of rough games against Germany, France, and Norway. Absolutely probably set them into a concussion. Just the way that, as I said earlier, Erling Haaland and those guys back in June put a 3-zip whooping to them. But I mean, since then, they haven't really played anyone. I think their strongest game since then was another game against Norway in which they lost 4-1 just a few weeks ago. So I think Italy's going to have to prove themselves that they can be at that World Cup level. But just the way the path is set up, I think if they can handle business over Northern Ireland, I like the matchup against Wales. I'm not as high on Wales this time around as Wales probably was a couple of Euro cycles ago. So there is a chance. I do think that there is a chance for, I'd say, just even taking a look at their group. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but they would be put into the Portugal, Uzbekistan, Colombia group. Is that right? Do I have that right?
No, they're They're UEFA A, right? If they're
So what group would they be put into?
if they're
they would
UEFA,
be, Group B. So
Yeah, it would be Group B.
Group B with Canada,
Qatar.
Qatar, and Switzerland. Correct.
Yeah. I mean, just taking a look at Italy, like in that group, that's no slouch either. I do think that they could play well against a Qatar and a Switzerland, but Canada on home soil, that'll be interesting as well. But I like their chances.
Drake, always great talking soccer with you. We look forward to talking more World Cup in the new year. Thanks again for joining us, and good luck to your Ducks this weekend. For Frank Marchese, I'm Braden Surprenant. This has been the Braden Surprenant Show. Thank you so much, Sports Station 97 to the Fan.